What is up, scintillating strangers? Welcome to the Season 7 finale of The Strange Sessions. As always, I am Kurt, and I am in a different position at the table, so I am thrown completely off.
Discombobulated.
Because Krista wants to make me change stuff, knowing how much I love it. I am here with my lovely co-host, Krista, and our special, it's become a tradition now for the finale, to have our much-loved guest co-host, my brother Kory, across the table from me. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Are you excited to be here?
Oh, yeah, always.
Yeah. So he will be here for the finale. There's still rumors of a Christmas episode.
Yeah, I don't know where people get this from.
Don't
It's
know.
so weird.
Don't know. It's almost an internet mystery. We might have to have an episode about
mini
that.
mystery.
Yeah, it's a mini mystery. Like, where is this? Where does this fake news come out about our Christmas episode?
Fake news, people.
Probably somebody hacked something on Reddit.
Yeah, it's
Right?
probably. It sounds like a teaser for our topic today, actually. But before we start officially, we just want to say, if you want to jump to the actual topic discussion, the show notes will have the time listed in it, and there's somebody awesome on YouTube that keeps putting it into YouTube.
Whoever that is, thank you.
So please jump to that. If I got a feeling today's Titillating 20 is going to go long because we have a lot to talk about and stuff to open and taste tests to do. So if you don't want to deal with any of that foolishness, just go forward to the time listed in the show notes where we start talking about the topics. I also, just for like an umbrella topic, I want to say that this episode is going to deal with some,
yes.
Did you say graphic stuff?
Some of the stuff I talk about is kind of graphic.
And some of the stuff that Kory and I talk about in ours is adult themed. So I'm not going to put it as like an explicit episode because it's
we
not.
We don't swear.
We do have a little bit of a swear word coming with Kory and I. It's the B word that ends with a D. Somebody that doesn't have a father.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that we're going to, because that's kind of important to that case. But
they had to tell me what it was.
But ours deals with some sketchy stuff. Okay. So just
mine is
listener
more
discretion.
Gruesome.
And for my students, like our story is actually going to probably be boring to you because it's not paranormal. It's more like an internet mystery. Mm-hmm. But just be warned that there are some graphic / adult
may not be
content
suitable
coming.
for strangelings.
For strangelings, yes. Is there anything? This will probably be the last episode that will not be in video format on YouTube. Yes. I think starting next season, we are going to do every episode video style.
Yeah, and I did apply for monetization last night.
Oh,
so
boy.
We'll see.
That money's going to come rolling in.
Well, they have to approve us, and it can take a month. So
I'm waiting for the armored trucks to show up outside and just give us bags of money.
Just, making it rain. Yeah, I don't really understand how it all works. I guess we'll find out. But so, yeah, if you listen on YouTube, you may at some point start hearing ads. And we hope people understand that, we're trying to do something with the show.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find anything on YouTube without ads.
Be able to not work and just do the podcast.
Amazing.
That would be nice.
Now people can boycott your podcast and then get it to advertisers to start.
Ooh, and then we'll be viral.
Yep.
Oh, I have one more thing, but I want to jump into shout-outs before I forget them. So I want to give shout-outs to our newest stranger. I think we've had one stranger since the last episode, and that is Krista
Better
Munzu.
than none. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, Krista.
Hey, Krista. The other Krista. We have another Krista twinny.
Krista with a K.
So thank you so much for joining the strangers. And I want to give a special shout-out to my coworker, Zach Woodside.
What's up, Zach?
Who, I don't even remember how it came up. Like, I told him I'd do a podcast, and he went on his break and listened to it, and he came back, and he's like, dude, I wasn't expecting it.
It doesn't suck.
Yeah, he was like, I wasn't expecting it to be so like professional.
That's funny.
So professional, we don't hear very often used with us, but Zach's an awesome guy. Like I love working with Zach. So Zach, thank you so much for everything nice you said about the podcast.
I'm glad you're connecting with coworkers now.
Starting to.
Yeah.
And just shout out to all of my ex-students. Like I love you guys, and they found me on TikTok now, so I'm getting comments that literally made me teary when I read them. So I love you guys, and I miss you dearly. So
I keep forgetting we're on TikTok.
And I think Clara and Brenna got their. I know Clara got her cap. Brenna got her cap too. Nice. I messaged her yesterday. So love you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Hey, that's a great reminder that we have hats for sale. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift for your favorite stranger, go to the Ko-fi website and you can purchase a hat there.
But as far as housekeeping, I also want to say before I forget that we are going to change things around next season because it's hard for Krista to edit the video.
Dude, the video stuff is a lot of work.
So
And it's time consuming.
what we're going to do next season is we're just going to stop doing the show because
we're
it's getting
done.
to be too much work. But what we're going to do next season is we are going to record one weekend and then we will release the episode the following weekend. So it will no longer be record Saturday, release it Sunday. It's
But
going to
you
be
guys
a week.
shouldn't really notice
No,
a
you guys won't
difference.
notice a difference. It'll give me more time to edit the episode. What's the word I'm looking for? Audibly?
Audio. Yeah.
Just in case I have to. We haven't really edited the episodes a ton lately.
Right.
But it'll just give us a week with the episode to do any changes we have to do. So that's going to be a little change for next season. But like I said, you guys won't notice it. It's just you're not getting the episodes a day after we record them.
Yeah, it takes a good 3 to 4 hours just to export the video after I'm done editing it.
Yeah.
And then it takes another good 3 hours to upload it to YouTube.
Yeah.
And get it through all of that. And the editing process can take a couple of hours, and it's just hard to do all that.
Seems so long.
It's. I think we don't have a fast enough laptop, because I was watching a YouTube video and somebody talked about upgrading their laptop, and it literally takes less than an hour for a long video, but it's like, this is a new laptop and I don't know how to make it any faster. Hey, if there are any techie people out there who know how to make this laptop faster without having to buy a new one, hit me up.
And I also want to give a special thank you to Blaine.
Oh yeah, Blaine.
Who gave us our first ever
Ghost box?
Spirit box. I was drawing a blank on the name of the thing. Gave us a spirit box, so thank you so much, Blaine. Krista
use it at our upcoming investigation.
Krista just ordered some.
Got a REM pod, another spirit box.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming in, and then Beth, who did our Toy and Bee Tiles t-shirts, is sending us a bunch of her ghost hunting equipment. So
I guess
all
we got to start scheduling some investigations.
We went from having nothing to swimming in ghost hunting equipment. So thank you so much, you guys.
I'm excited for like phase 2 of our investigations. Better equipment. I don't know. Different approach.
I don't know if I should save this for the end of the episode. I'm going to do it now. One of our strangers, Ed, he runs, his YouTube channel is called Chameleon Ed. And he listened to the Gary Sudbrink episode, and then he wrote me and said, "Hey there, strangers. After your recent podcast covering the Gary Sudbrink telephone calls, I was inspired to do a little audio tinkering on the recordings. I've always enjoyed this story and had an idea that I could speed up and in turn raise the pitch and the voice of the mysterious caller."
Is that the thing?
Where the guy called and
kept
said,
calling,
"When are you coming back to Texas?"
That
one.
Okay. That was a creepy one.
So he said he did the audio manipulations and he put it on his YouTube channel. He said, "I hate to say it because I love the case, but I think the caller just sounds superhuman when played back at a regular pitch. Audio engineers had been varying the speed of tape recording since at least the 60s. I'd be very interested in hearing your thoughts at some point." So I wrote back to him, and then he wrote back and said, "Awesome to hear from you, Kurt. I'm a loyal listener and so thrilled that I can play a small part in your story.
Aww.
Considering the why of it all, I hate to throw shade on the guy, but I think Gary is probably the first person I would look at if I were investigating this case. We only have his word that he was approached at the airport, right? He could have set these calls up with a co-conspirator, though it is surprising that no one has come forward by this point. I may have talked myself out of my own argument. Thanks for taking the time to write. Happy holidays to you and Krista, and looking forward to the next episode." Thank you so much, Ed. His YouTube channel is called Chameleon Ed. One word, just one long word.
So what does he cover on his channel?
I'm
kind
not
of
sure.
The same, okay.
I'm not sure, but I think he does a lot of
check it
audio
out.
stuff. But
Okay.
he fixed the audio to make it sound like human, and it does. So if you want to go to that, go check it out.
Cool.
So thank you so much, Ed. Do we have any other housekeeping? I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute 'cause I'm trying to squeeze, because we have a lot to do.
Kory has a curfew.
Kory does have a curfew.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Should we jump into...
Taste test?
And we have we have 2 packages to open. Clara, my student, sent us a bunch of stuff.
Sweet.
I think there's a bunch of candies in here, so we might save some of those for the season premiere.
Oh, sure.
Next season, because candy will keep.
Yeah, just a reminder, don't send us any perishables in the next couple of months, because we're taking a break now. So,
but we're going to do taste tests first, and then we're going to jump into opening these packages and then jump into the episode.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Trying to get this all figured out here.
Smoky.
So our taste tests, these were both sent to us by David Bond. I think this was sent to us.
He's been killing it with his taste test lately.
I think we've had something like this before.
Did he send you like a box with just a bunch of stuff?
No, he gave us because I was taking care of their cat.
Oh, that's
so
right.
he left stuff there.
Nice.
So these 2 are from David Bond. I think they're going to be good. This one I'm a little leery about because everybody knows I hate cream corn. I think we've had something like this.
I think we have.
It's like the puffed
It just says
Sweet
sweet corn,
corn.
not cream corn.
Did we have something like that in the
In our
Japan-
Japanese box?
yeah,
In our
Japan
Japanese
crate that
snack
we were-
box?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have
I have a
that.
feeling I'm gonna love it. Should I open it?
Yeah. I could love it or hate it. I'm weird about cream corn.
Oh boy. Why?
If I had a taste test, if I had to choose between something spicy and cream corn, I would do something spicy.
I literally can't
Oh
open
my god. Oh my god. We'll get better with that.
it. Will we?
Oh my god. Kory,
Give it to Kory.
this is why we're bringing in that big podcasting money. People can listen to 3 people try to open a bag of something. Oh, Corey's going. Oh,
Stab it
Kory
with a
stabbed
pen.
it with a pen.
When in doubt,
Stab it with a pen.
pen.
Yeah, you're not gonna like this
Oh, does it totally smell like cream corn?
You can
completely.
take some. Well, they're like puffs.
It's like a cheese ball.
Oh,
I'm a little leery by all your
Surprised you
by
can't
all
smell
your
it over there
faces.
across the table yet.
let me take some pictures.
Oh,
Cheesy poofs.
wow.
They're not cheesy poofs though. They're corny poofs.
I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Yep. Oh. Oh.
I like them.
No. Nope.
Are they a little stale?
I think that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to tell, but I like them.
Nope.
I like them.
Nope.
Do you like corn in general?
Yeah.
Are you shaking your head no? Then had another one.
I got to make sure.
He had to make sure he hates it. I'm gonna.
I don't
give it,
hate it. It's just I would not eat those willingly on my own.
Yeah, I'm not going out of my way to buy them or anything, but
It's like a 9 out
But
of
as
10.
far, I'm going to give them a 7 because they do taste a heck of a lot like cream corn.
Yeah, it's got a lot of flavor. It's
Yeah,
not
they
like
do.
subtle or anything.
No. So I'm giving them a 7 because
I'm gonna give him a 7 as well. The texture's not as crunchy.
the
as I would want it
aftertaste
to
is
be.
like
Not-
actually good.
I mean, they're crunchy, but they just
9
seem
out of
kind
10.
of stale.
Tasty.
Okay, Kory, 9 out of 10. Me and Krista, 7 out of 10. You guys finish those up. This next one from David is sesame snacks.
He's really into the sesame stuff.
Well, I think these are like from different countries and stuff that are big with like that. I think was actually from a different country.
This one?
No, the corn,
Oh.
the nasty cream corn thing.
I saw somebody on Instagram that had American Doritos, the nacho cheese, the regular flavor, and then he had the Mexican version.
Oh.
He said it was completely different.
Yeah, well,
I didn't
like
realize.
I
know
go
people
on
talk about like the Mexican
I go on
Coke and stuff
Good
like
Mythical Mornings when
I didn't
sometimes
realize that either.
that.
Good Mythical Mornings sometime they'll try different like Doritos from different countries and then they have to figure out what country it's from because they've got some funky like Dorito flavors and
Such a
Pringle
great show, by
flavors.
the way.
Good Mythical Morning. I love
Yes.
Good Mythical Morning.
They're so funny. The one guy reminds me of Dana Carvey so much.
Yeah.
Well, there's like 3 things in here.
Yep.
It's perfect. I'm just gonna take one and pass. Oh, and pass it. Oh God.
Got it.
Smells good. It smells like halva.
Does it?
A little bit. Okay, ready?
Ready. Oh. I like that.
Very sesame. I mean, it's literally sesame seeds.
There's like no
It tastes like a crunchier halva.
there's like no flavoring. It's just basically
Sesame seeds.
I like it.
Oh,
It feels relatively healthy too.
And just the right amount of sweet and
Yeah.
a little salty.
I'm gonna give
Yeah.
that a 9.
Yeah, that's good.
I did not expect to like it.
I'm actually giving it a 10.
Wow.
I know.
This was busting out a 10. Yeah. I'm bumping mine up to 10.
Are
I
you?
really like that. Like I would
I'm
love to have
finishing it.
these at home to eat.
Yeah, I'll say it a 9. It's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Okay.
Only thing I could give 10 were the what was that stuff that you guys
Thunder
told-
salts?
Yeah, that was a 10.
This is
That-
what makes Kory
the
Kory.
crickets were a 10.
Ugh. Now when you got the antenna stuck in your teeth.
Oh.
Okay, we have a package.
Didn't we have scorpion popsicles too?
Yeah.
Not popsicles.
Yeah,
but
I
suckers?
couldn't eat mine. We have a package sent to us from Jennifer,
Okay.
loyal stranger Jennifer.
Uh-oh. Krista, go in with confidence that you're going to open this package.
Over our holiday break, maybe I'll come here and we'll have package opening lessons and practice.
I mean, we do have a ceremonial dagger from Sophie and Adam.
Mm.
Ooh.
You guys just have all the security guys you have out front open this
Our
up.
audio
Yeah.
engineers,
Running
our
through the
audio
X-ray
engineers.
machines and
I don't know what these are.
No, they look cute.
Podcasting underwear?
I got them on.
Oh, there's a card. Do you want to read the card? Something knitted. Green, my favorite color.
Looks like Minecraft colors.
Oh, I even know what that is.
Reference.
Oh, you ready?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Kurt and Krista. When I saw these pickles on Facebook, I knew they would be perfect for you guys.
Pickles.
I had my mother make up
Oh
a
my
couple
God.
for you. Oh, thank you so.
They're
so cute.
adorable.
Stay amazing and strange. Can't wait
That is
for the
cool.
next season. Many blessings and well wishes of joy for the holiday and New Year.
Oh my
Thank you so
gosh.
much,
They're
Jennifer.
so cute.
They
Thank
don't-
you
they
so
don't
much,
smell
Jennifer.
pickly, do they?
No.
Oh, that'd be
They're
even better.
so cute.
What does it say? Life isn't always.
Bread and butter. So
All
this
bread and
pickle is
butter.
here to help you deal with all that
Oh,
life. This is so
stop
cute.
it. Okay.
Thank you
That's
so
nice.
much.
I'm going to take a picture.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
I got to take a picture. These are adorable.
Little seasoning packet in there of dill where every time you squeeze it, a little.
That would be
How
great.
about Bill?
I do have dill. Dried dill. Oh,
And
they're
my-
so cute. Okay. We got to
And
find
my
a place.
and my student Clara sent us a whole bag of stuff that we're gonna.
Are we going to
are-
taste one thing?
We can taste one thing. So this is Kurt and Krista. It says pin.
Ooh. Are we opening this right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Aw.
Sorry, this is riveting for people who are listening right. Oh, there's several. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, she made these
Oh, that's cute.
little
is so cute.
ghosty,
That is so cute.
a little bloodshot eyeball,
That one's cute too.
and a mushroom. Oh my god, so adorable. They're little handmade pins. How sweet is that?
That is super nice.
Oh, and a note from her. Oh, I love this girl.
Getting all teary.
Yeah, don't cry.
I'm gonna do my best. To Mr. K from Clara, and because she's talking about the cap, because I gave her the cap.
Oh.
Hi! It's so nice that you got me that hat. I also love the podcasts. The calls on the last one were crazy. She's the one that told me she got the Gary Sudbring phone calls. Kind of freaked her out. We're so crazy and scary. Also, most of the stuff I sent is homemade, and I hope you're doing great. You're amazing. Have a nice day. Hi, Krista. You're amazing. Hope you're also doing great. There are names on the back of the things that are assigned to the person who is supposed to open them, so their names are written on there.
Oh.
Free doodles, and she put doodles at the end.
Was
because she
my
always did
name on
doodles.
the envelope?
Yeah,
Yes,
where's
your
mine?
name is
Okay,
on some of
good.
them. She didn't know you were going to be on it. Thank you
They're
so much,
so
Clara.
Cute. I'm gonna have to figure out how to display these.
So, Clara, we're going to open some of your stuff next season,
up here.
or maybe if there's a Christmas episode coming up.
I
so
doubt
here
it.
are
though.
some stickers. Stickers for Krista
Sweet.
and stickers for
Are we
Kurt.
saving these for next time?
Let's open those in a Christmas episode.
Okay.
We're gonna save the stickers for the. Oh, if there's a Christmas
If there's a
episode, if there's a Christmas episode, we're gonna open that.
There's
and
totally a
open
Christmas
this
episode.
for decor in the recording room.
Oh, stop it!
Decor.
I just want to display this.
I know she
How
is.
adorable.
Clara is so talented and awesome, and I just adore her.
The fact that somebody took the time to make this
I
stuff
know,
for us is
I know.
just
So open
forget
that.
about it.
Open that because we're gonna.
right now.
Yep, because we're
This
going to
one?
be because we are going to be changing the decor down
We
here
are.
after the holidays.
I'm excited. It's
Interesting.
mostly just going to be painted a lighter color, and I'm hoping to have bookshelves and stuff down here. And I'm supposed to tear it.
I know.
Here.
I love it. Clara was always she'd always draw me things. My fridge is like covered with stuff.
Oh my gosh!
It's so cute.
Look at how cute that is.
This is so cute.
Ugh.
This will be hanging in our.
Yes,
new-
let me take a picture.
That's so cute. Thank you, Clara.
It's like a little green. Is it a frog?
It looks like a little monster.
It's adorable.
That's crazy. I remember at the school when you guys had you didn't even have a cork board, and then you got
Yeah.
one and it had 2 or 3 things on it.
I
And
know.
then now looking down here, it's like the entire room is all.
Just covered with stuff.
We
that
could
people
use
sent
another
us.
one because I'm running out of space actually to hang stuff up. I have stuff just sitting over here because I don't know where to go with it.
Clara, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for our stuff.
I mean, how cute is that?
I know. Thank you so much for our stuff. We're going to open more of yours in the next couple episodes. So thank you so much, Clara and Jennifer. Thank you so much for the stuff.
I think we're right on time.
Are we?
Yes.
Okay.
We're at almost exactly 20 minutes, I would say.
Okay.
Because
Is there
we
anything
had,
else that we have to?
We had 5 minutes of unedited.
Yeah, is there anything else that we have to...
I think so.
I feel like I'm forgetting something.
We always do.
Corey, tell us about
Anything,
yourself.
Corey?
Tell us about yourself.
I'm a
You like
Virgo.
long
I
walks on the
long
beach?
Walks on the beach.
You like pina coladas?
When is your birthday?
September 20th.
Wow. I consider myself a Virgo, even though technically I'm a Leo, but I'm right on the cusp.
I'm 100%
I'm
Cancer.
so much more Virgo than
I always
Leo.
think of my first year at school. Samantha was an 8th grader at the time. One of my favorite, like when I started there, she's one of the reasons I stayed with that job, because I was like, these kids are amazing. Like, I was put with a really good lunch group, and she was in there, but she was like big into astrology. And then I was talking to the classroom one day at lunch or whatever, and she raised her hand and she goes, Mr. K, can I ask you something? And I said, yeah. And she goes, you're a Cancer, aren't you? And I'm like, I
could
am.
never
I'm
tell
like,
that.
how did you know? And she said, you're exactly a Cancer. You have like all the Cancer qualities.
Wow.
And it was so weird. But when I look up stuff about Cancers, like, I am exactly a Cancer. Like, I don't feel like I fit in any of the other ones, but Cancer is like perfect for me. But as long as we have like a minute or two, we talked about this in the unedited version, but we just had, was it Emma? Posted in the Strangers and said...
Oh, a question?
She posted in the Strangers and said, I believe she's in England. I have never seen / listened to Zach Bagans or know anything about him. I'm just wondering what it is about him that people dislike so much. And we kind of talked about it in the unedited banter at the beginning, but I don't dislike him. I feel like, I don't know. Part of me feels guilty now because he's just an easy target to make fun of.
He made himself a target.
He did make himself a target. He's like you said, you blame him for...
A lot of people, including the people in question, blame him for their shows getting canceled.
Yeah.
Destination Fear being one of them. So, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of people who have come out and said that he basically, anytime they try to do something, at least on the networks he's involved in, it doesn't go anywhere or it gets canceled because he wants to be the big player. So if you're not part of whatever he's doing, he won't have it.
But, and like Corey said, he also gives off that
Like frat bro kind
frat
of
bro
vibe.
Totally.
vibe. And I feel like it was the same with Ghost Hunters with Taps when that came out, that I feel like he started with good intentions, but then you just get wrapped up into believing
fame
your
of
own
it.
hype, that, which is what's going to happen to us when the podcast gets it big, you know?
Oh, sure.
Like, we're going to get podcasts canceled that we don't like. We're going to be like, we're going to have all that power.
All the shade thrown at
All
us.
the-
Here's
you
a good
know?
example. You're not there yet, but Project Fear, that's the YouTube channel. They just started using the Spirit Box because Zach told Dakota, you can't use it because I made it famous.
Oh, God.
So he was told that
yeah.
nobody can use it because I was the first person to use it, and now they use it all the time.
That'd be like us if another podcast struggled with opening packages. We'd be like, no, that's
our
our shtick.
That's our shtick.
You know?
Krista's a weakling, and she can't open a bag.
But I don't totally dislike him, but he's just
It's entertainment.
He's an easy target. You know?
I call it entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't take what they do very seriously, to be honest with you.
I feel like the Newkirks, like people always say that our tone changes with when we talk about the Newkirks, but I feel like they're...
I was watching them this morning.
Were you?
I love their setup, by the way.
I'm sure his museum is interesting, and I've probably only watched like 5 episodes of whatever show he's
Ghost
hosting,
Adventures.
Ghost Adventures,
Yeah.
but I look at it the same way. It's entertainment. It's not like it's a documentary where you're trying to make everything legit, and I don't know. I don't believe anything anyway. So the fact that he gets possessed every episode, or they always seem to find something, or they run around like it's the biggest find in the world.
Well, I actually just listened to an episode of, I think, Jim Harold's Paranormal Podcast.
I love him.
He's
been around forever.
He had, oh my God, what's his name? Lloyd Orbach. Mm-hmm. He's a big wig.
Yeah.
My brush with fame with Lloyd Orbach is I stepped on his foot at a convention.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but I did. And I didn't know it was him because I stepped on his foot when we were at a paranormal convention, and Natalie like apologized. He's like, I'm sorry, my boyfriend stepped on your foot. And then we're sitting there, and then they announced Lloyd Orbach, and then he stood up, and I'm like, oh God, I just stepped on his foot. But he talked about how if like Jim Harold asked him if you could do your own paranormal show, what would it be? And he said the problem with paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures and stuff is it's more about the cast than it is about the actual haunting.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
That's
true.
totally
It's
true.
100% more about the investigators than it is about the actual haunting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he said, in his ideal one, you wouldn't even necessarily know that the investigators. You would know more about the haunting situation, which is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, if you guys wanted to make a show, you know exactly what to avoid.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be our next step. We'll be have our.
I
ghost
think
hunting
we
show.
will post some of our
Well, especially like our
video.
our ghost hunt that we're going to be going on coming
that will,
up.
Some of that will be on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
some
think.
of that will be on YouTube. We want to get more video and like actually start doing investigations and having chunks of video of us doing investigations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is frightening and exciting at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I think, should we jump into the topic?
Yeah, now we totally ran over.
Okay. But I want to say the topic Kory and I will be doing, I'm only going to jump in for one part of Kory's. I took a lot of my time off. Now my batteries are completely dead. I need to recharge over break. But ours has some adult themes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to dance a line between saying them and not saying them, but we're just going to say some of the stuff.
I'll try to tamper
because
down
some of it can be, and again, my students, you're probably not going to like the story because it's more of an internet mystery than anything paranormal. But like so many of the stuff that I've listened to, videos I've talked, like everybody starts off with saying how Lake City Quiet Pills is a hard story to get a grasp on, that you can talk about it in a condensed version because it's a rabbit hole. This one is 100% a rabbit hole that if you want to go into, you will go down this rabbit hole. But it's very complicated.
Even chronologically, it doesn't
No,
flow right.
even
You have
chronologically.
to, like, go backwards and then go forwards and then talk about websites and talk
Yeah.
about posts and
Yeah.
usernames.
Yeah,
and-
but at the same time, you
Am
and
I
I,
gonna be lost?
might be lost. At the
Okay.
same time, you and I were into this like from the start. I remember being there kind of when this came out, because I remember seeing the Google Maps image of where his ashes were supposedly buried or spread by
Yep.
the mall that used to be his childhood home. And I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but you and I were in this from the beginning, and we were fascinated. And I remember like even the first time you came on the podcast, we were saying at some point you and I need to do Lake City Quiet Pills because it's not, like I said, no paranormal, nothing scary. It's just like a fascinating internet mystery.
Yep.
I know Brad Medeiros covered it
Oh, nice.
on his podcast.
Okay.
And it's just a hard one to grasp. So we're going to do our best. So
Yeah, I spent some time trying to make it the most like
Palatable.
palatable and like easier to understand. When I was doing the research, there are a lot of podcasts that talk about it, but they basically use only the same two sources.
Yeah.
Either the Thinking Sideways one, where they actually did some
yeah,
investigating on their own.
the
for
thing is,
podcast.
everybody said the Thinking Sideways episode on Lake City Quiet Pills is the gold standard for Lake City Quiet Pills. But then when you started researching this, you were worried because Thinking Sideways is done, and I guess their episodes are gone.
Yeah, I
Like
couldn't
you
find
can't
it.
get them anymore.
Oh, really?
But there's another podcast that I'm drawing a blank on the name, but they actually I thought I just saw something by the stairway.
stop it.
Like seriously, I thought I saw someone standing there.
Oh boy.
But they released a podcast that is just Thinking Sideways episode. So it's still out
Shattered
there.
Souls?
Shattered Souls. Like yeah, so they're doing episodes and just re-releasing the important Thinking Sideways episode. So that's where we found this. But everybody said Thinking Sideways episode was the gold standard for the Lake City Quiet Pills story.
Yeah, that and the unsolved.com had a
Unresolved? Was it unresolved or unsolved?
unresolved. That one
Because I
also
think that's a
had
podcast too, and I think
Yeah.
they covered it.
Yep, and that was one of the other ones that everybody just seemed to follow. So
Yeah.
there are some new updates that I'll get to at the end of it, but yeah, it's I tried my best to make it understandable, but at the same time not throwing names out and dates and trying to keep it as succinct as possible.
Let's do it.
We're going into it?
We're going into it.
All right. So the Lake City Quiet Pills is what we're going to be talking about. Basically, in a nutshell, it's an internet-based mystery that started on Reddit in about 2009. For those of you that don't know Reddit, it's obviously probably one of the biggest sites in the world.
I love Reddit.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
look at it every day.
It's the
seriously,
definition of a rabbit hole.
yeah,
You
Reddit.
know?
Yeah, like every day I'm subscribing to another subreddit, just like really niche things. Like
Yeah.
I just found one this morning called Alien Bodies that, like talks about like recovered alien, like anything that you are interested in.
I think I need to get the app because I find the website very confusing.
You do need to get the app because it's a lot better, but Reddit's a rabbit hole.
The posts are fine. The gold is where the comments are.
Yeah.
Because that's where everybody starts talking about whatever the post link was, whether it's a story or whatever, then the comments are
it's seriously become my go-to for like research stuff to see what people are saying about things.
Basically, Reddit is it's an aggregator or a discussion website. It was started in 2005, but really began blowing up maybe the year later once it got pretty popular.
Wow, it's been around that long?
Yeah. It's been around a while.
Okay.
So this all started with a user on Reddit who went by the moniker 26. That's his username, 2-6. He posted on Reddit that the other user, Religion of Peace, had passed away. So basically just announcing that somebody he knew had passed away. Here's the post. Quote, Milo died today. He was 79 years old. He died at his desk looking at your site. Milo was a mean old effer. Mean and ornery. He hooked me up with my first gig when I got out of the army. I didn't like finding him like that. Milo didn't have any living relatives and no real friends, and other than his landlady and a few people where he worked, he didn't talk to anyone about much of anything. Me, he just tolerated. As I said, he was mean. I think he used that as a shield to keep people away from him. Milo thought God was some kind of game thought up by some lazy SOBs who didn't want to work every day. So he's going into the fire on Monday without a service, just like he wanted. I'm planning to dump his ashes in the woods in Pennsylvania near where he was born. Can't put them right there because there's a mall there now. I gave the girl next door his raggedy old cat and most of his books, his computers and electronic SHIT. He tagged for disabled vets and the VA. All the rest of his stuff is at the Salvation Army. All those years and everything he owned fits in the trunk of my car. I don't know what else to say. I'll miss him. Miserable bastard. So most of the, unquote, most of the commenters about his passing seem very respectful, sorrowful for his passing, although a few seem to think the opposite of him and were glad that he was gone.
Like he was around for a while, and he was just like a crotchety, like
We'll
old.
get into that.
Okay.
Oh, you just Kurted Kurt.
I can Kurt.
Yep.
Wow, if you're going to Kurt me, I'm leaving.
Kurt's
Actually,
out
I'm
here.
just going up to the bathroom.
Okay.
I got to go. I'll be back.
All right.
It'd be funny if he didn't come back. Do you want him to keep going? Okay.
So Religion of Peace, or Milo, was a 79-year-old man that was also he was a pretty prolific poster on Reddit and somewhat popular on the site. Like I said, his real name was Milo, but he also went by Religion of Peace as his username. He was described as a mean old man who liked to tell stories on the site and whose account is still up, and it's pretty extensive and full of crude and rambling posts about spammers, posts about his military career. So
it's still, you could go now and read his
You could
posts?
type in his username as Religion of Peace, and then it'll show all the posts that he has.
Okay.
So, which I'm surprised they kept it up, but I don't know if they get notifications that people have
Yeah.
died and opt out or find a way to delete it or what. He even posts about what gauge piano wire is best to slice throats.
Oh. How would he know that?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
He was very competent for an older man with computer coding. He said he applied to the military underage to fight Nazis in World War II. He said he was there on the beaches of Normandy, but described his actions being there as only passing 40-millimeter cannon shells back and forth on a troop ship. So it sounds like he didn't actually storm the beach like more of the other people did.
Sure.
In some posts, he said he would try to help people get jobs after they left the military. Some of these jobs could be described as mercenary type work. He was a moderator on Reddit, which, if you don't understand what a moderator is, you're in charge of a subreddit. So Reddit is the main page, and then there's subreddits on dogs, subreddits on woodworking, subreddits on sports.
Kind of like how you and I have control of the strange sessions. Like we can edit
Our
posts.
closed group.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was a moderator for 2 sites. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, this is where we don't want to. This is where the adult themes come in.
Okay.
So the website name was, there were two of them. One was Jailbait and one was True Jailbait.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, based on that,
It's
understand.
not.
It's not
It's
what you
not
would think.
illegal, but it's living right next door to
Okay.
illegal.
Yeah.
We're talking like
Adjacent to.
we're talking like young teenagers in swimsuits, like that kind of stuff.
So one of the things he also side posted that he was the owner of the website That Old Guy's Image Host, which is an image hosting site primarily for
Sketchy stuff.
sketchy stuff. But, there were also memes and whatnot. They did have some rules on that site, which were no animals and no fluids. So
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
it's definitely not a
Yeah.
place
family-friendly
for- yeah.
site.
It's not Nickelodeon. or
No,
anything like that.
it is not Nickelodeon.
The site that was adjacent to him that he used was lakecityquietpills.com. The website was also a side hosting site, which means you have links that can go back and forth between websites. Some are pulled and copied from that website. Some are links directed from that site to another site. So the Lake City Quiet Pills was basically the web address for that old guy's image hosting site.
Yeah.
That was just the title of the site, whereas Lake City Quiet Pills was the actual web address.
What's the name of the big image hosting site I'm trying to think of that most people like use to host their images?
It's like Imgur?
No, or PhotoBucket. I think I was trying to think of
PhotoBucket, yeah.
PhotoBucket, but that's basically what this site was like
Yeah.
an alternative that you could put sketchy.
And it was Imgur was
Imgur
Reddit?
is still
Was
around.
that
Imgur,
Reddit's,
Imgur
like,
is
original
Reddit's,
side
but like
hosting
Reddit's,
post?
yeah.
And then we get into another site that is drunkstepfather.com.
Lord.
It's
But the thing
also
is,
not
the thing
very
is,
classy.
it wasn't because I remember back in the day, like when memes, like early memes, would be hosted by that site, and I remember seeing the name drunkenstepfather.com, and I'm like, that's a weird name for a site.
Yeah,
but
that one started out okay, and it started getting a little less
it's
classy along
it
the
started
way as well.
it started more genuine because
Yeah.
there were like that was a image hosting, like legit images, because it would show up sometimes when I went to click on an image, that was where it was held. But then like you said, it got more and more skewed towards
Unsavory.
the unsavory.
Yeah, so those are the basic sites that are going to be involved in this, just so people are aware. So after that death notification, all the people on Reddit, who said their goodbyes went on with their lives, but not all of them. So upon getting the post that Milo had died, some people that were on Reddit began to go through every post he ever put out there, any kind of search histories, any names that he dropped. And then 26, who posted the death notice, was another one that people were kind of like, oh, he just signed up to post that post, and that was it.
Yeah, that was like their only post was his notification, the notification that Milo had died.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird that he just made one post. So people were going through, and these side hosting sites, one of them linked back to another website that I still use to this day, fark.com.
I never go to FARC.
It's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
But basically, it was another one of those sites. They would post a news topic. They'd make a funny renaming of the link. You'd click the link and it would go to like msnbc.com
Yeah.
or whatever. And then there were comment sections on those as well. So they noticed that there was a user on fark.com named Angel2-6. So that's interesting that, they were basically the same. So people started looking at that and noticed that the email address of Angel26 was angel26@lakecityquietpills.com. So again, it goes back to the Lake City Quiet Pills website. And the link for the bio from Lake City Quiet Pills had the caption, "Dispensing Lake City Quiet Pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968.
Yeah, that was the motto for the Lake City Quiet Pills
Okay.
site.
So,
And people started becoming like, what is this?
yep, so we'll get to that.
I'll shut up.
Angel26's posts and comments on Reddit and FARC were kind of similar to Milo's. You could go back and look side by side. Sometimes they would maybe spell the same words wrong. Sometimes they would always be talking about things in the military. So they were similar. Some would even say eerily so. It also appears that the 26 name was kind of passed around as a moniker for several people over the course of time. There were Angel 26s on sites like Dig, Yahoo Answers, Jaguar PC, and ZBrush. So just a bunch of different sites. Some dealt with computers, some dealt with just like, obviously Yahoo Answers is somebody posts a question and then somebody answers it. So yeah, there were grammatical and spelling consistencies between the two. So some people thought maybe they were the same, but a lot still thought that they were different people. Once some of these users started putting pieces together, they decided to look into the Lake City Quiet Pills website itself. Some people noticed similarities in posts, in users, topics, and they all thought maybe this was a ARG or alternate reality game. Another user happened
Keep that in mind because that's going to be one of the theories.
So if anybody doesn't know what an alternate reality game, it's basically just...
I feel like we've talked about
it because I talked about doing the Wyoming incident, which was an ARG.
Okay.
So that's one of the theories that we're going to be looking at. That's what this is.
Another user happened to look at the source code for the Lake City Quiet Pills website.
And this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever looked at a website. You
I
can
have.
accidentally press a button.
Yeah.
And you'll get the source code.
And the thing is, I have, because doing my research over the last couple of years, there's some sites. Right now, I have an add-on.
I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, there's some sites that you could not copy and paste. But now I have an add-on on Chrome that lets me copy and paste. But back in the day, I didn't have one. So sometimes the only way I could copy and paste a long section of text was to go into the source code of the page and copy and paste it there to bypass their not wanting me to, I don't even know if I should be saying this out loud, but to bypass their not wanting me to copy and paste. So
I guess they shouldn't make it accessible.
I was familiar with the source code page, and it's like, it's basically just like almost like a computer.
Yeah, I know for some sites you can go into the file up on top or whatever, and it'll actually have you edit the source code, but some had that grayed out, so the only way you could do it was hitting some combination of buttons or some button.
But there was a way to see the source code of the page itself.
So they happened to look at the source code and they noticed something. They noticed that there were apparently job listings. So these weren't your usual job postings that you'd find on like Indeed or whatever. These were kind of coded and seemed to be more in the vein of the military than anything else. So the next big question is, what exactly are Lake City Quiet Pills and what do they reference, you may be thinking? The consensus is that it's referring to the Lake City Army ammunition plant owned by the government in Independence, Missouri. What they do is they manufacture several different types of bullets or ammunition for the military. Lake City is housed on 3,935 acres. It has 458 buildings, 40 igloos, which are like storage, like a circular-shaped storage building. They can store about 707,000 square feet. As of July 2007, the plant produced nearly 1.4 billion, with a B, rounds of ammunition per year.
Wow.
In addition, Lake City performs small caliber ammunition stockpile reliability testing and has ammunition and weapon testing responsibilities as the NATO National and Regional Test Center. So Lake City is the single largest producer of small arms ammunition for the United States Armed Forces. So that's
it's
Lake City.
Solely just for military.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Therefore, everybody assumes a quiet pill is a euphemism for a bullet.
Sure.
Which is
That
kind of
makes
a clever way
sense. Yeah, it
of
is
saying you're
clever.
going to shoot somebody to shut them up, is you're going to give them a Lake City quiet pill.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Lake City part mainly refers to it being of government authority or ex or current military per se. So that's how the term Lake City Quiet Pills came about. Everybody is basically in consensus on that. So any questions up to this point? We have a couple different websites, a couple different users. Somebody died, and they looked at past posts, search histories. They found this source code,
Yeah, and
which
they
is what we're going to get
found
into
messages
now.
in the source code.
Yep. So the source code postings that I talked about, here's what they look and sound like. By the way, these did change periodically, so here's just a couple snapshots of what I have archived. Quote, Shade is maintaining the calendar and access to the file dump. Angel has the job postings for EU, Europe, and Asia. We aren't sending anyone to ME. We assume Middle East.
Yeah.
Don't ask for listings. So here's the next listing. Quote, immediate need, 8 to 10 Chinese/Korean, fluent Korean dialect accent, details after contact, 12-week half-pace sequester on refusal. The next one, 2 ground types, fluent Farsi, Arabic, or French, No papers, no problems. Next one, quote, need formed group 8 to 10, single OP or single op, delivery bonus, quote, gentleman's agreement insurance, immediate need. So those are some of the
basically
posts.
This sounds like black ops.
That's
like
what like
contracting stuff.
it's like contract killings.
Weird.
Possibly like in like military.
Okay, but not related to the government.
No, it sounds like we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Maybe.
Okay.
But like
I'm
thinking
intrigued.
sideways went into like detail on what like sequester means. Like if you know that there's a hit in India on this weekend and you don't take it, you're sequestered because you know that there's going to be
a hit,
an assassination or something. So you have to stay sequestered so that you don't accidentally release that you know that.
Okay.
So basically, it sounds like they're using this site to hire
assassins.
Yep.
Like
we'll,
that.
We'll get to some of the acronyms here coming up too.
Okay.
The website's HTML code was full of these job postings, which seemed to have no other explanation than being for military contractors or mercenaries.
Oh, before I forget, like they didn't know. Like at the time, one of the theories was that this was on a hidden part of that site where, you know, like you would click on a part of the screen that nobody else knew was there, and it would take you to the listings.
So that's what I was going to ask. The source code is what shows up
it's
on
a
the
part of the
page.
site.
Yeah, so people don't know if they were actually hiding this in the source code or if this stuff was actually hidden on a different part of the
Something
page
you had to
and it
click
somehow
on.
glitched and worked its way into the source code when it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, they may have known that if you go up from this logo up and to the right, like 10 pixels, there'll be a little dot that won't be on the screen. But
And
if you use your arrow, your cursor, and click it,
Yeah.
that's where.
And
it
there's
would bring
sites
this
that
up.
do that where there's like a hidden section that you have to click on this exact pixel
And
to get
these
to.
assassins looking for work would know
Yeah.
where to go to
Yeah.
find the job postings.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it did talk about assassin work or mercenaries, but there were also like defense, like almost kind of like defense contractor posts.
Yeah, it
too.
wasn't necessarily murders.
Yeah,
it was a
where
lot
you
of
would be,
like was it
defending a
Blackwater?
diplomat or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was a lot of like work like Blackwater, like ex-military people contract out for.
But over the course of time, there were dozens of these postings that were hidden in the code. A number of these postings featured acronyms such as CCW, which seemed easy enough to decipher, which was concealed carry permits, concealed carry weapons permits for the CCW, although others remained a point of contention, such as W/W, which some people took to mean wants or warrants in a certain region. So if you had a want or warrant out for you in Germany, they obviously didn't want you to go because as soon as you landed, you'd be flagged for having a want or warrant. Although some people did see WW being as wet work, which means the actual killing of someone. Other things popped up in the source code as well from time to time. One was a second version of the death notice for the day that Milo, or Religion of Peace, died that read, quote, I'm sorry to tell you that old Milo died yesterday. He went quiet and calm, not like we all figured. I gave that fat mangy cat of his to the little girl next door. No service or nothing, you know Milo. I'm taking his ashes back to where his farm was. We're close to it anyway. There's a mall where his place is now, or there's a mall where his place was. So hoist a few for the old man. Remember what he said. Keep with the man who's got your back. And then 2 months later, there was one that said, quote, for those who have asked, I bricked Milo's iron key the same day. All is well, unquote.
What does that mean?
So for those that don't know what an iron key is, it's an encrypted hard drive like a flash drive. And by bricking it, that means you either intentionally render it useless. This can be done by entering a password wrong 3 times or any other number of ways. And by bricking the device, you're basically, in essence, destroying it and any of the information on it as well.
Okay.
So he had stuff on a...
So if you see, like, if you type in iron key under Google, it's like a bigger version of a flash drive. It could be a hard drive, and it's got, like, a dial pad on top. And then to access it, you would need to plug it in and then press, like, 343, whatever the number was. And then sometimes a warning would pop up saying that if you get it wrong 2 more times, it destroys itself, basically. So any
Interesting.
information you didn't want anybody else to have, you definitely wanted to put it on there.
Like a hacker couldn't even get in there?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
It's like inaccessible.
Yep. So by ending the message with all is well, this user implied that there was any incriminating evidence on the Milo's hard drive would no longer exist. 2 months later, this post was found as well. Milo's will cleared probate. Surprise, Milo was loaded. Email Shade if we sent you out in 2005 or to 2009. Shade will have checks cut for you. Amount is by how many times, not by pay total. Small share is 3 to 4K, unquote. So, I mean, obviously a lot of this stuff is misspelled. If you go on there and like probate is Probaite.
Surprise is Sirprize.
Yeah, so a lot of things are spelled wrong, and I'm just saying them right.
But they're saying that Milo had money and that they're going to pay people that did the work for him.
They're like intentionally misspelled, right?
Possibly.
No, like checks is Cheks.
Oh.
Like just either somebody who types super fast and doesn't care, or, you know, amount.
Because I could see surprise spelled like prize being a hint at like there's money involved, or probate.
Amount is missing the U, so it doesn't seem to be any reason why they'd be spelled wrong.
Okay.
A couple more months puts us now at January of 2010, and this one was found. Happy New Year, everyone. We are having a birthday party for the old man on the 19th. Party starts at 1500 at the usual. Send your RSVP to Shade. FYI, we are booking a room for 3 days for anyone coming out of the area and overnight for locals. Come hoist one for Dutch Milo. Unquote. So you can see that there's, it's progressing. There's in between these periods of these mercenary work postings going on, there's other things that are being posted to the site. And like all things associated with the LakeCityQuietPills.com, these posts seem rather straightforward, a birthday party to celebrate the life of someone that brought so many people together. And on January 12th, 2010, this one popped up. Quote, we got 38 rooms in the Marriott on 46. Shade has key cards for locals, quote, or parentheses, pick up at the party, on parentheses. Give your travel name to the desk and that's it. No ID needed since we're covering the bill. Keep the room service under 500, okay? The phones there are not secure. Bus from the hotel leaves at 13:30. Car service vouchers for return trip when you're ready to crash. Don't DUI. And then 5 exclamation points.
Yeah.
So
I love the part about the phones not being secure.
Yeah.
So that comes in later as well. However, many people have interpreted these last 2 posts to have different meanings altogether. These instructions seem very odd for a party. Who needs to worry about using a travel name for a birthday party? Who needs to worry about insecure phone lines? And the last reminder, the reminder not to get a DUI, is advice that adults really don't need to be told. However, it's implied that any legal entanglements could be messy, and I could see that making some sense if we're assuming this is some black ops kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Many people have tried to decipher what this could have meant, but the most obvious lead comes from the multiple hotel rooms. What kind of party rents out 38 rooms for a single hotel? In the years since this, the hidden message appears in the code of Lake City Quiet Pills that some have tried to tie this to a gathering of an alleged party on 1/19/10 and tied it to one of the most intricate assassinations of the last century.
Yep, and now I'm going to jump in here because I'm going to talk about this. And it is interesting that...
Is this JFK you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's interesting that the post said, we're having a birthday party for the old man on the 19th. Okay, so keep that in mind. And they're talking about renting out these hotel rooms and this stuff. So now... The assassination of Mahmoud al-Mabua took place on January 19th, 2010 in a hotel room at the Al Bustan Rotana Hotel in Dubai. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Al-Mabua? Al-Mabua, a bigwig in the military wing of Hamas, was wanted... Or Hamas. I should know that because it's on the news all the time.
Hummus?
Yeah,
hummus.
not hummus.
Hummus.
Ugh, I don't like hummus.
I love it.
Al-Mabua, a bigwig in the military wing of Hamas, was wanted by the Israeli government for the kidnapping and murder of 2 Israeli soldiers in 1989, as well as purchasing arms from Iran for use in Gaza. These have been cited as a possible motive for the assassination. At 6:45 a.m. on Monday, January 18th, 2010, the first members of an Israeli hit squad land at Dubai International Airport and fan out throughout the city to await further instructions. Over the next 19 hours, the rest of the team, at least 27 members, will arrive on flights from Zurich, Rome, Paris, and Frankfurt. They have all come to kill al-Mabou. On a previous trip to Dubai 2 months earlier, in November 2009, the same team tried to poison him. It's not known exactly how the team did it, how they managed to get the toxin to him in their first attempt, although the suspicion is that they either slipped into a drink or smeared it on one of the fixtures in his hotel room. Al-Mabou fell mysteriously ill but eventually recovered and was never aware that he'd been poisoned by Israeli operatives. This time, though, nothing was to be left to chance. It had been determined in advance that the team will leave Dubai only after they have confirmed with their own eyes that al-Mabou was dead. Israeli spies had been monitoring his email and online activities through a Trojan horse planted on his computer, and possibly through a human source who had betrayed him, although Hamas rejects this theory. And they know that he will be arriving that day in Dubai. The mission will be run by operatives working under the assumed names, and these are like the three bosses of the hit squad, under the assumed names Gail Folliard, Kevin Daveron, and Peter Elvinger, who arrive in Dubai the very early hours of the 19th. They immediately go to separate hotels where Folliard and Daveron pay for their rooms in cash, but most of the other team members are using a prepaid credit card called a Payoneer, a fact that will be significant in the investigation to come. Al-Mabou is expected to land in Dubai at 3 o'clock p.m. At 1:30, Kevin Daveron leaves his hotel and heads to the team's designated meeting place, the lobby of a different hotel where none of the team members are staying that was selected in advance for its convenient location. On the way to the meeting, he walks through the lobby of a third hotel and enters the restroom. When he emerges, he is no longer bald, but now has a full head of hair and is wearing glasses. The security camera outside the entrance to the men's and women's bathroom was recording all of this in real time. And I'm going to post this in the Strangers after the episode comes out, but there is a video of this entire of the circuit, like the hotel
CCTV,
cameras. Yeah, you get to see, and then at the bottom it tells you what's going on.
Yeah, it says like so and so
It's
arrived.
like I've
1500.
always been fascinated by this video because I love like covert stuff like this. And like there's the two guys walking in the lobby with the tennis shorts on, carrying tennis rackets that are part of the hit squad, and they're all like, so it's crazy.
Like
that's
it wouldn't raise
fascinating.
any red flags to anybody at a resort or hotel. People are walking around like that.
No, but I'll post the video, but it's like a 30-minute video, and it shows like all the people, like the camera footage, and it's really fascinating. And there's also like a shorter news story about it that I might post too that's shorter, but shows like the stuff. So it's super fascinating. Gail Folliard also leaves her hotel and on the way to the meeting uses the same bathroom entrance as Deveron, from which she too emerges in a wig. By 2:30, there are surveillance teams located at the entrances to every hotel al-Mabou has stayed on his past trips to Dubai. There is also a team posted at the airport ready to follow him into the city. So there's people everywhere that are monitoring him. But al-Mabou, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Al-Mabou is also traveling under a false identity. At 3:25, two men standing in the lobby of the glitzy Al Bustan Rotana Hotel, dressed in tennis gear and holding tennis rackets, report to the command team that their target has arrived and is checking in. One of them follows al-Mabou down the corridor at a discreet distance in order to confirm his room number, which is room 230, and to get a sense of the layout of that hotel floor. Al-Mabou then heads out to take care of some business and do some shopping and stuff. Elvinger shows up at the hotel and requests room 237, which the surveillance team has reported is directly across from al-Mabou's room. So now the other...
They're closing in.
Yeah, they're closing in. He's renting the room directly across from him. At 5:36, another operative arrives in the lobby wearing a baseball cap. Minutes later, he emerges from the elevator on the second floor wearing a wig. He too goes to room 237. At approximately 6:30, four more men enter the hotel and go up to the room in pairs. Two of the men are carrying bags, and all four wear baseball caps that partially conceal their faces. These are the men who will carry out the assassination. At 8 o'clock p.m., the 7-person group in room 237 makes its move. Deveron and Folliard stand guard in the corridor while one of the other operatives reprograms the electronic lock on the door of room 230. The intention is to rig the mechanism so that the hitmen can enter the room using an unregistered electronic key while also being careful not to accidentally disable Al-Mabua's own key. So they're trying to get into his room without screwing up the lock system. At this delicate moment, as the team is beginning to break into Al-Mabua's room, they are temporarily disturbed by a hotel guest who steps off the elevator on that floor. The footage from the security camera shows Deveron quickly moving towards him, blocking his line of sight and engaging him in idle conversation. When the guest finally walks off, it's clear that the lock tampering has been successful. Deveron and Folliard return to room 237, and the assassins enter Al-Mabua's room 230 to wait for their target. At 8:24, Al-Mabua returns to the hotel and goes straight to his room, passing Deveron in the elevator bank and Folliard in the corridor. He has no reason to be suspicious. His key works just as it should, and the door bears no visible sign of forced entry. Once he is inside, Deveron and Folliard move down the hall and stand guard outside the door. 20 minutes later, it's over. The assassins exit room 230, somehow managing to leave the room chained from the inside. Which,
What?
there's a way you can do it. There is a way you can do that with, I think, like I know
a
you can.
magnet
I know
or
you can
something?
open a chain door using
Yeah.
a thumbtack and a rubber band. I remember seeing that. I never did it. I didn't break in anybody's apartment, but I remember seeing that years ago. But somehow they managed to rechain his door when they left, which I thought was interesting. Somehow managing
clever.
to leave the room chained from the inside. The team meets briefly in room 237, presumably to gather their things and report back to the command center outside Dubai. Then they begin to exit. And in the video, it's really like they weren't good. They didn't do after the assassination, you see two of the guys go to the elevator and they're still wearing rubber gloves, and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah. The team meets briefly in room 237, presumably to gather their things and then report back to the command center outside Dubai. Then they begin to exit. The assassins are the first to leave. Minutes later, Folliard follows arm in arm with another operative, and Deveron is the last to emerge from room 237. Within 4 hours, most of the team has completely left Dubai. So what occurred in room 230 during those 20 minutes? So the thing is, at the beginning, they thought he died of natural causes. And that was the purpose of the hit squad, was to make it look like he died of natural causes so that there wouldn't be any investigation. But they quickly, based on stuff, they found out that it wasn't natural causes. According to the official police report, the assassins, what I'm guessing happened is that as soon as he stepped into his room, the three guys, I'm not sure how many, were in there behind the door or whatever. And when he stepped in, I think they grabbed him. According to the official police report, the assassins first injected in his leg with succinylcholine, a quick-acting paralytic muscle relaxant. It causes almost instant loss of motor skills, but does not induce loss of consciousness or anesthesia.
It's so freaky.
Then he was laid down on the bed and suffocated, probably with a pillow. There are also reports that he may have been shocked with a stun gun. The assassins used this method so that it would seem like his death was natural, which would give the assassination squad time to get out of the country before alarms were sounded. So basically, they shot him with
Would a stun gun leave a mark of some kind?
Yeah,
on
that's
Yeah,
why
it's like
some reports said that he did.
side-by-side holes or
Yeah,
Yeah.
some reports said that he did, but most reports said that he didn't. I think he didn't.
Okay.
Because according to everything, they use succinylcholine, which is
can't
scary.
fight back.
It's scary as heck.
Yeah.
You're injected with this thing, you're paralyzed, and then they put your body on the bed while you're conscious and suffocate you with a pillow to make it look like you just had a
You
heart
can
attack.
feel everything.
Yeah.
You know everything
Yeah.
that's going on.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
It's like
It was-
sleep paralysis,
Yep.
but much worse.
It was when the hotel security cameras were scrutinized that they realized it wasn't a natural death, but by that time, the assassins were long gone. Because of the camera footage, the identities of all the assassins were eventually figured out and reported. Several of the squad and co-conspirators were arrested.
Yeah, why didn't they show up in disguise?
I don't know. And like I said, I'm going to post the video. It's a fascinating video. I've always been super fascinated by this. And I believe they're talking about that charge card they used what was interesting about that was that it was by an Israeli-backed company, but it was also distributed by a bank that was located right near the Lake City Quiet Pills ammunition plant.
Okay, so the moral of this is these assassins were likely people who found this job or
Well,
recruited
we
through
don't
that
know.
website.
That's the thing, is that we don't know.
Some things tie together, like the meeting at the hotel in the post.
It's just
1500.
It's
3
like
o'clock.
a coincidence that they said the meeting is going to be at this hotel on the 19th, and the 19th is when this assassination happened at this hotel.
Okay.
So that's the question.
Seems like
a lot of people say that they were unrelated, and a lot of people believe that they were related, that's what this hotel party was referring to, the assassination.
Yeah, and I'll try to get into
Yep,
some of
and
that here.
that's what I got for the assassination. Like I said, I'm going to post a video. I've always been fascinated by this, but it's like so many people went, and it's just like they did kind of a shoddy job.
Yeah, for as good as they were, they also made some mistakes.
But then the question, and we'll probably get to this in theories, but the question is,
especially since you know all their names.
well, if it was Mossad or whatever the Israeli Secret Service is, it's like, are you going to farm out a major assassination to this group on Lake City Quiet Pills website? You know, but maybe they would farm it out to other contractors in order to pull it away from them. You know, so I don't know, but that's the assassination that some people believe was the quote unquote hotel party.
So there was no more visible activity on Lake City Quiet Pills for the next couple of weeks, at least not pertaining to the story. The site continued to exist as a photo dump full of images that were mostly not classy in nature.
Very not classy in nature.
But the messages hidden in the code remained unchanged until February 2nd, 2010, roughly 2 weeks after the assassination. The post titled Party Bills reads as follows, quote, "Here is the final for the party. Hotel rooms, 48,341. Limo, 6,081. Bus, 569. Bar bill, 18,890. Food, 8,030. Dancers, 8,300. Miscellaneous tips, 850. Miscellaneous expenses, 2,840. Medical supplies, 180. Fat Tommy and Stu are okay too."
I want to know the story about Fat Tommy and Stu.
Total, 94,080. Quote, "You all did Dutch Milo proud. Thanks."
And it's so like odd.
All like,
yeah, we'll get to that.
like what are dancers? what are they actually talking about?
And that's the thing. It doesn't. You could interpret it in a different number of ways. I mean, the Thinking Sideways people like started looking into the average price of a hotel room to see if it jibed with 48,340, and they all came to the agreement that it's basically the price of a nice hotel room.
Yeah, like if you had that many hit people going there, like a group of like 27 hit people or whatever, it kind of added up.
But like dancers and miscellaneous tips, maybe those are code for something else.
That's what
but
I'm thinking.
It could also be, legit. There were posts on the Drunken Stepfather website that the party really did happen, with independent witnesses posting things like there being about 12 fist fights and 1 stabbing, which that's where Fat Tommy.
Maybe I hope Fat Tommy and Stu are still okay.
Stabbed. Over the next few months, people involved with the site continued to post those strange hidden job postings from before, with ones that read, quote, "Immediate need, 4 Korean, fluent Korean dialect accent, details after contact, 6-week half-pay sequester on refusal, 6-month gig bonus. Quote, 2 business class security,
I don't know what that word is.
non-canus? I don't know what, I don't even, fluent French required. And then, quote, 2 light surveillance, no U.S. W/W, no Mexican W/W.
I think did they think that means wet work? No United States wet work, no Mexican wet work?
That, or they thought wants and warrants. So it
that could be.
Maybe you couldn't go to Mexico.
But then they're saying light surveillance, so it's not like these are all, like you said, it's not like they're all murders necessarily, but it's stuff like that.
Yeah. So again, these all continued until around March of 2010, which was about 2 months after the assassination of Mahmoud. That was when curious Redditors finally began to notice and started poking around the source code to uncover more strange things like hidden messages. Up until then, this had all been unfolding under the surface. Once the Redditors discovered the source code and began posting links to it on Reddit, all eventually led some Redditors to begin linking up the January post with the assassination of Mahmoud which then basically blew everything up online for everybody to read.
Yeah, because then that's when it blew up in everybody. I think that's when I discovered it and was
Yep.
kind of fascinated by it.
And then almost as soon as that happened, the code for Lake City Quiet Pills was changed and encrypted. What once had been easy to read messages now become frustrating series of numbers and symbols. And when Redditors began working on deciphering those, it was encrypted again, becoming too convoluted to translate. The possibility of a one-time use daily pads for decryption and encryption seemed to have begun.
And we talked about that in the number stations because that's how spies manage to
Yep.
contact other spies.
And shortly thereafter, the website was taken offline for good, with new curators of the site deciding to change to a new hosting site. The website, once known as Lake City Quiet Pills, was gone for good, but the mystery had just been born.
Yep.
So theory one is kind of long. It does incorporate some other things, so we'll just go with me talking about it, and then we'll go with what you guys think after.
Okay.
So theory one, was this all a stunt to make people famous? Was it a hoax? Was it an alternate reality game of some sort? It's hard to get famous if you're using names or handles on websites that aren't the most well-known or even less sketchy than the ones we have here. It seems like a lot of work to simply be a hoax. There was no gotcha moment or clues to find a hidden spot or treasure for an ARG. The area where Milo's remains were spread remains an interesting point as well. Why were they spread at these coordinates, which they actually did post the coordinates, and why post it? The Thinking Sideways podcast folks did a deep dive into that area and came up with really nothing that ties anyone known to that area. What about the iron key? If you're using a website with hidden posts, why use an iron key? Milo's probate cleared in 4 months, which isn't unlikely. The executor could have been a local in the area. Probate is easy with limited property and possibly little to no debts or no family. Why use back pay for only that 4-year span in one of those posts? Is that the only time these guys were active? Did he misspeak and simply mean bonuses were due to Milo being loaded? If the nearest big meeting area would be New York, because this is all happening around Pennsylvania, or if they had the party there, there is a Marriott's on the 46th Street, just like the post mentioned in New York. Again, the Thinking Sideways podcast did a deep dive into these numbers, and they all seem reasonable for the numbers for rooms, limos, bars, food, etc. to mathematically work out. It is strange that they tallied the numbers for a party and then posted them, though.
Yeah.
Are these numbers supposed to mean something else only known to those in the group? And then Kurt talked about how the sequester part works in these openings. So there are posts suggesting that 2-6 also died after this happened during a mission in Uganda in 2010. He had an aneurysm, fell into a coma, and died a few weeks later. A post references someone taking over the 2-6 monitor. That person was JP4. JP4 spends a few months on different message boards and Reddit, trying to get the funds to keep the website up and running. Over the years, the owner of the website switches. JP4 gets replaced by Pierce. Pierce gets replaced by Bishop. Bishop gets replaced by Maxon. And in 2012, Maxim gets replaced by Madam Meow.
Kind of got a crush on Madam Meow just on her name.
And over the years, we find out that some of the site IP addresses were all traced to Newark, New Jersey. So now here comes in another website, and a guy's name. A website called Hoster Stats that's it historically keeps track of URL registration databases. The Lake City Quiet Pills domain name was first purchased in November of 2001 with a domain host site named crystalwind.com. Crystalwind.com is a consulting site ran by a guy named Mike Adams. It's located in Newark, New Jersey. The site has contact info for anyone looking for web hosting. Over a year and a half later, the site would change frequently. Political issues became quotes on the front page, and a link titled Our Customers brought people to a page that had a winking emoji and the words, quote, "The crystal wind is the storm, and the storm is data, and data is life," unquote, which was attributed to the player's litany from the book The Long Run by author Daniel Keyes Moran. On June 13th, 2000, the page is gone completely, with the exception of this quote. So all the stuff about consulting is gone, and it's just simply the wink emoji and that quote on the website. For the rest of the year, nothing changes. On September 23rd, 2001, a few weeks after 9/11, things change. The website has no business purpose anymore and simply posts a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, a picture of a Navy sailor with an American flag, and the words, quote, "We're coming for you," and a scribe that for those that took part in the 9/11 attacks. So basically they're defending 9/11, saying that, we're going to come for you, and then posting the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. On April 1st of 2000, the site stays that way after the 9/11 stuff for years. April 1st of 2004, the website updates. The site now hosts a placeholder page that is similar to the placeholder page for crystalwind.com when it first began, but now the address redirects it to lakecityquietpills.com. So between 2004 and 2009, we have no evidence for what the Lake City Quiet Pills site was ever used for, but for Crystal Wind, we do. Basically, what I'm getting at is these sites are linked, and I'm basically giving you the evidence as to why they're linked. On an index page for Crystal Wind, there are 2 links that lead to various files. Most of these are 3D images of women wearing a blindfold, earphones, an experiment table, and a water-filled body tank.
I was going to say, are they doing the Estes method until you brought up the body tank?
I don't know.
There are more of these on there, and these all appear to be images almost from a PS1 or PS2 era video game. So they're not like legit pictures of women. They're
but
like,
it's just weird.
Like 3D renderings of like what you would see in a video game. These images can be downloaded into a zip file, and once the file are downloaded, there's a README file, a text README file, which if you don't ever know, if you download stuff, every once in a while there's a README file that gives you the installation instructions. So the README file gives thanks to someone named Trent the Thief for letting people use the web space. Another link in there goes to another 3D modeling site that appears to have computer graphical images of young girls for some yet to be named computer game. So you click on the README file and it has another link. That link takes you to another site that has a bunch of these like video game style pictures.
This is also
some
weird.
Of them are, some of them are weird the way they look. I don't know. It's just weird if you ever want to look at it. Doing a Google search for Crystal Wind, there also was a guy's name that was brought up named Mike Adams. That was in an archived email thread from 1997. So this Mike Adams, this Crystal Wind, go way back to 1997. At the bottom, it is named with Mike Adams as the head of Crystal Wind Consulting, but with an email address as trent@crystalwind.com. So what this does is it shows a pretty fair example of Mike Adams being Trent the Thief, being Angel 26, being 26, and finally being possibly Religion of Peace, a.k.a. Milo.
So is it this guy doing the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's very elaborate.
Yeah.
The same words are misspelled by some of these aliases. The same author of the quote, the author that Daniel Keys Moran shows up in different posts by some of these different authors or the different users.
That's interesting. The same words are misspelled.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap it up, that Mike Adams might be all these personas and possibly even Shade as the sole person behind the Lake City Quiet Pill site. Maybe he needed to distance himself from the less sketchy jail subreddits
Yeah.
and the drunken stepfather stuff, and what better way to do that than by stating that his internet persona had died. Also on 9/24/2017, the drunken stepfather site was hacked. A user by the name of Madam Meow had their entire user history deleted from the site, just her account and a few others. The accounts that were apparently deleted were Shade, 26, JP4, Bishop, Kim, Pierce, and Satan 666. These were all the main players from the Lake City Quiet Pill site. All these accounts and all their posts were wiped. One day before the attack took place, a user on Reddit wrote in the Lake City Quiet Pill subreddit that it's time to stop looking into this mystery. It gives a little background into Shade and Milo, and his last sentence is, quote, "A message to LCQP. I cleared your tracks. Have a good one."
Yeah.
So that's the theory one in a nutshell, is that it was all this one guy, Mike Adams, who had all these links to usernames and email addresses, that it seems like it was all him. I don't necessarily know if I believe that yet.
No, and one of the theories is that they want you to think it was just
Yeah.
him
Sure.
and not really mercenary / hit
Yep.
jobs.
Sure.
You know?
So then theory 2 is that this was an assassination / mercenary group that was being used by the government or military to perform clandestine work, or they were doing this on their own. Why worry about phones not being secure or having to use fake names at a hotel unless you're doing something you shouldn't be? Okay, so Mike Adams himself made a public post telling people to look at the source code for his website, then under different aliases complained that it was publicly accessible. Then why start encrypting it? But these job listings have been there for a while already. It seems rather obvious that Mike Adams himself created the attention to the site, and that makes no sense, since clearly if these job listings are bogus, it's an attempt to distract from something. The only problem is, what would that be? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Why draw attention to yourself at the same time you're hiding yourself? Why go through all this much trouble to start a long con, if you will, spanning several websites, several years, several emails, names, etc. for what?
Yeah, there was like no purpose behind it. Like,
Right.
And then even as recently as this last month, in November, the Drunken Stepfather website had its message board hacked twice, and it was archived and posted to Reddit. And on November 5th, Lake City Quiet Pills was removed from the Wayback Machine, or Internet Archive. And in order to remove the site from the Internet Archive, you need to have a site owner to make a manual request.
Yeah.
So
It's weird that it got removed from the Internet Archive.
Yeah, so that's basically it. It seems like it blew up so much that they started trying to cover all kinds of tracks.
Yeah.
Why would you do that if it was simply
Yeah, and that's
just-
Right.
like we talked about this on the drive down here, that I legitimately go back and forth. I think it's just nothing, and then there's sometimes where I think it was legitimately like a hit squad mercenary site. You know, what was I gonna say? I totally forgot what was I gonna say. Like the ARG thing, like I talked about it on here, that I had played the Wyoming Incident ARG back in the day, that was just run by some of the guys from the Something Awful forum because they were bored. They had all these random weird websites made. I told you that the basic website was this message board that was set up years ago that we figured out was a place for serial killers to meet. And, you know, it's basically just these guys from the Something Awful forum that once people started like getting into this, they just went along with it. You know, like they did stuff like some of us in the forums, it came up about number stations, and all of a sudden number stations came into the game. And then they finally just ended it because they were bored. They were just having fun. And is that what this was? Was this just somebody having fun?
But
it just seems...
They told people they ended it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if there's nothing like that.
No, there's nothing like that here. So the theories are it was nothing. It was just this one guy, or it was a legitimate hitman / mercenary site, or the third one that I read, which ties in with the whole jailbait subreddit, was that it wasn't like a mercenary squad. It was a child pornography / trafficking.
This is all code.
Yeah, and with the hotel stuff, like was it trafficking? Was it child pornography? It was. You know, like, I don't know. I mean, to this day, you know, and somebody, like the Religion of Peace Reddit, somebody just posted on it. Like,
somebody took over the
username for the first time in years. So it's like, what's going on with this? But there's a whole subreddit dedicated to Lake City Quiet Pills. It's like a fascinating, was the hotel assassination part of this? Like, I have a hard time thinking that Mossad or the Israeli secret, you know, service, whatever, would contract stuff out to Lake City Quiet Pills website. But 27 people, they said they think there were 27 people in this hit squad. You know, maybe.
How else would you communicate without?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know about it if the assassination made it seem like it was natural causes, you know, because it didn't. Maybe they didn't want to kind of blow back. Maybe they did hire these guys out, because who would be the first person you would think would have done it? Would have been Mossad.
But you would also think Mossad would have been not as sloppy
professional
as these people hired from the drunkenstepfather.com site or whatever.
Yeah. As to how that tied in, I don't know.
And I know this doesn't seem like that big of a mystery to
I think
people, but
it's
Kory
so
and I were like
fascinating.
fascinated with this when it was happening. Like,
Especially
I remember
when you watch that video just makes it like
the
wow,
video of the
these guys
hotel
are so
was
good, but yet so not good at the
well
same
at the
time.
end. Like I think at the end, the girl, whatever her name was, I have it in here, but she looks like straight up at the camera, security camera, like she's gloating that they just killed this guy. You know, but my mind keeps going back to how much it sucks to be him to walk into his hotel room, get grabbed.
Was he a bad guy though?
Yeah, he wasn't a good guy.
Okay,
you know,
well, he had it coming.
but it's just it's weird. So that's
Yeah.
Lake City. At the end, I really
well, so if we know all of their names or at least the main players, are they like? Were
I think they
ever
got
brought
jailed.
To
I think they got.
justice?
I think
Okay.
so.
Some got arrested and
I
put
think
in jail.
so.
But as to whether they, if you could find a link from, they're so good at covering their tracks for this kind of stuff that if you could find a way to link one of these guys to either the 2-6 or Shade or what was her, Madam Meow.
Madam Meow.
You know, but it's the being anonymous on the internet. It's hard to tie people's usernames to their real names.
At the end of the day, I do think that it was mercenary work that they were, and I think somehow it glitched and went into the source code. But isn't that what Blackwater is? Isn't that like ex-military people that get contracted out? And that's basically what this is. But I don't know if I think the hotel assassination was tied in, but it's just such a weird coincidence that it was said the hotel party on the 19th and then he gets assassinated on the 19th.
Yeah, we had a guy that left the military, came to work by us, and then left after a couple months to go back to the military, and he was going to be a bodyguard for diplomats.
The old Soldier of Fortune magazine in the 70s and 80s, you would hire ex-military people for stuff, and it didn't always, you didn't know if it was an assassination or just protection, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it was a legitimate mercenary
That's what
site.
it feels like.
Yeah, but I don't know if the hotel part was tied in with it, but I can see it being part of the whole.
And I think the only reason that they tied it together was because of the date.
Yeah.
They looked to see what happened.
But the hotel, like the pay stuff is so weird. It's like.
Yeah, we have Christmas
secure phone. Like you guys have Christmas parties.
Nobody goes on there 2 weeks later and says, "Here's how much we spent."
Do you get emails saying that the phones are secure at Fox Hills or wherever you go for your Christmas party?
Nope.
So it's just so weird. It's very weird. Part of me does think the hotel assassination was tied in with it, and I do think it was mercenary work. I just think if it was an ARG or this guy just hoaxing, there was no payoff, and it started so early.
And you know about it by now, probably.
So. Just fascinating rabbit hole.
Yeah, if anybody wants to use any of the sources, the best probably two are, obviously the Lake City Quiet Pills subreddit. It does have 2 posts about timelines.
Yeah, the timeline post is good.
Perfect timelines, just a small little sentence saying what happened on this day or what was found on this day. The December 3rd, 2015 Thinking Sideways podcast about Lake City Quiet Pills. And if you're a YouTuber, Nexpo,
Nexpo is always
has a Lake City Quiet Pills and internet mystery video. It's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
I think he kind of brushes it off as being nothing.
Yeah,
but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, he did some investigation, just like the Thinking Sideways podcast people did into it. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole, there you go.
And it is a big rabbit hole. I mean, we just touched the surface of it. Really, it's. But hopefully it was okay. Like, it's hard. It's a hard story to encapsulate.
I followed it.
It's a hard story to encapsulate in, and people, like a lot of people, I think, are going to listen to it and be like, "That was dumb." But it's
websites,
just
you're spanning people. Some people, although maybe are different users or maybe the same user, and you're going back and referencing them later.
It's just one that we knew you and I had to do because you and I were like fascinated with that story from the get-go, from when it was going on. So that is Lake City Quiet Pills.
Nice. I thought that was great.
Thank you. Good job, Kory.
Thanks. Yeah, as always.
As always.
Are you ready for my topic?
Ready.
Mm-hmm.
Mine has a bunch of Russian names, so I'm hoping I don't mess this up. But I'm going to be covering the Korovina Group incident. I got the bulk of my information from the Scary Interesting channel on YouTube, but also thoughtcatalog.com and strangeoutdoors.com. So, in 1993, so much more recent than
this one,
than you imagine. Are you familiar with this story?
Just very, very little.
Okay.
I don't really know anything about it.
A group of 7 Russian hikers led by master hiker and survivalist Lidmila.
I love the name
I'm
Lidmila.
going to struggle her.
This is already totally giving off Detlov pass.
Totally. 100%.
That was one of her names. One of the girls.
That was one of the girls'
it
names was
was,
Ludmilla. Yeah.
Korovina. so it's Ludmila Korovina, set off on a trip into the Khamar Daban mountain range to take part in an event that was known as the Turyada Tourism Festival. Ludmila had gathered a group of her favorite students to embark on a special trip that was more challenging than likely anything they had done prior. So the group consisted of Ludmila. She was 41. She had spent decades teaching mountaineering to students from Kazakhstan and was known for pushing people to their absolute limits. But past students have said that although she was really tough, she was literally the best guide and mentor that you could possibly have. The rest of the group, Alexander Krisin, he went by the name Sasha. He was 23. Tatiana Filipenko, 24.
Love the name Tatiana.
Denis Shvakin, who was 19. Valentina, who went by Valya Uchenko, was 17. Victoria Zalasova, who was 16. And Timur Bapanov, who was 15. I probably butchered all those names. So quite a range of people, but all pretty young other than Ludmila, who was 41. And they all are coming to this group with varying degrees of experience. Some of them had barely done any mountaineering or hiking, and some were quite experienced. So the Khamar Daban Mountains are a small chain that form part of Russia's South Siberian Mountains. It's really close to Mongolia. While not the highest peak by any means, it tops out at just under 2,400 meters. They're very challenging and are thought to be the oldest mountain range in the world. The range spans 350 kilometers from east to west, and in summer months, average temperatures are around 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 18 Celsius and are quite humid. It's considered a safe hiking mountaineering destination, but the route that this group planned to take is not for the average hiker. At the time, Russia was using a 4-grade rating system for difficulty, which measured not only how far or long you would walk, but how high you would be climbing, and even it took into account like the number and types of skills that you would need to do it safely. I'm sure you've already guessed this route was a number 4, which is the highest grade. Ludmila knew that this would be a very challenging excursion, and the group spent months training and preparing for the hike. So on August 2nd, 1993, the group met up to catch the train that would take them to where they were going to access the mountain range in Merino. The plan was to walk until August 5th, and then they would meet up with Ludmila's daughter, Natalia, who was leading another group of hikers. The weather forecast was looking good. Above average temperatures and a little bit of rain was all that was predicted. And the first 2 days went by without incident, and the group was able to actually cut some time off of the hike and summit several peaks ahead of schedule by taking a somewhat unusual route. However, on day 3, a cyclone coming up from Mongolia took the area by surprise and at higher elevations turned to heavy snow. The group was walking along a high ridge when the snow started to fall. They initially planned to push on and keep hiking, but as they were making their way down the mountain, they realized the conditions, which were getting worse and worse, were not great. They were all soaking wet and exhausted, and they just needed to make camp. But instead of hiking an extra 4 kilometers into the woods to seek shelter, which was on the way to their planned rendezvous, or it was where they planned to camp that night, which was, heading towards the rendezvous point, they set up camp out in the open. Again, reminds you of Dyatlov Pass, where for some reason they set up camp like out in the middle of nowhere or in like a really exposed area. So this was super exposed, really windy, and it was like situated between 2 mountains. So this was about 4 p.m. on day 3. So that would have been the 5th. Is my math right? Yeah.
I don't know.
The group was so exhausted, they never even got into their sleeping bags. They just put up their tents, laid out some plastic wrap, and fell asleep on the floors.
I know what that's like.
They didn't even take their sleeping bags out of the plastic wrapping that they came in.
Dang.
They had a really rough night. A lot of wind, a lot of ice, a lot of snow. Tents were falling. Things were snapping.
That sounds so much like
it sounds
the
great,
Dyatlov
doesn't
Pass.
it? They had to get up and be fixing things all throughout the night. They didn't get much sleep.
Sounds like you and me last night.
Yeah.
And Kory
Totally.
last night.
Oh, you had a bad night too?
No, I
He
slept
just-
good.
He just didn't
okay.
get a lot of sleep.
Yeah, I'm just usually sleeping at this point.
Oh, you're third shift, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. So when they awoke the next day, everything was just completely covered in snow. So after making breakfast, they realized that the snow had covered basically all of the landmarks that they had counted on using to get out of there. And around 11:30, they decided to set out towards the forest to try to seek shelter from the snow because the storm was ongoing and just kind of get their bearings in hopes of still having a chance to possibly meet their group ahead of the schedule. Unfortunately, this is where things got weird.
Things went sideways.
Valia, the 17-year-old, reported that 10 meters into their trek down the hill, Sasha, the 23-year-old, just fell over. A couple of people initially helped him to his feet, but he immediately fell over again, letting out this horrible scream. Ludmila told the rest of the group to keep moving, that she would turn back to help Sasha, who, after falling back to the ground again, started foaming at the mouth. If that wasn't bad enough, blood started coming out of his eyes and ears, and he began violently convulsing. Ludmila called to the rest of the group to get help and started to try to revive Sasha, but then she herself cried out for help. Valia ran back to where Sasha and Ludmila were, and here is where some versions of the story claim that Ludmila died the same way, so foaming at the mouth, blood coming out of her eyes and ears.
It's not on my list of ways to go.
Yeah, no, not at all. In other accounts, she had a heart attack. But either way, she lost consciousness and actually collapsed on top of Sasha. Tatiana, Victoria, and Timur started rushing back to where Valia, Ludmila, and Sasha were, but almost immediately, Tatiana started gasping for air and clutching at her throat. And then, and this is so disturbing, Tatiana ran to like a nearby cluster of boulders and just started repeatedly bashing her head over and over again into one of the rocks until she basically knocked herself out and she fell to the ground.
Dang.
Valia, at this point, just collapsed from the sheer terror and was kind of paralyzed and didn't know what to do. Dennis ran and hid behind an outcropping of rocks, trying to get into a sleeping bag in an attempt to like shield himself or hide from whatever was going on. And when Valia came back
like
to
a nightmare.
It is.
It's seriously like a nightmare.
What is going on? Like total chaos is breaking out. Valia kind of comes back to her senses. She checks on Ludmila, who isn't breathing. She gets Timur, who's completely hysterical, back on his feet and tells him, just head to the trees, just start running to the trees. She grabs Victoria by the arm and pushes her forward, also toward the trees. Victoria's freaking out, trying to get away from Valia. She doesn't know what's going on. She even bites her in the hand, just trying to get away from her. And so, but she does end up running towards the trees behind Timur. But shortly after, before they even make it to the trees, Victoria and Timur both start coughing up blood and clutching their throats and tearing off their clothes before collapsing to the ground.
Wow.
Dennis yells to Valia to dump what you don't need, grab only your essentials, and run for the trees. And so he breaks away from the hiding spot behind the boulders and starts bleeding out of his face as well. And he collapses in convulsions. So now Valia's alone. So she sprints as far into the woods as she can until she can't run anymore, basically. The storm's completely out of control. She said that trees were coming down all around her and she just needed to find a safe place to hide. So she finds like a crevice in the rock in the mountains and waits until the storm calms down. She sets up camp to get some rest. Luckily, Dennis told her, hey, grab your essentials, drop what you don't need. So she actually had a tent, a sleeping bag, and a change of clothes. But that's not enough to get her through this ordeal. So after she spends the night, she realizes she has to go back to where everybody was to try to salvage supplies because she doesn't have what she needs. And so she doesn't know what she's going to find when she gets back there. She doesn't know if whatever took them out is going to take her out. But when she gets back, nobody has moved. So she's able to find a map, some food from their packs. But at this point, she still doesn't really know where she is because all the landmarks are covered in snow. So she's just, I'm going to go back into the trees. I'm going to follow the tree line down the mountain. And as she's going, she finds like an old electrical tower and a sign of civilization, of course. And so she kind of keeps heading in that direction. She finds another safe place to camp that night. She's exhausted. She knows she needs to keep resting. And she's hoping that by now, because they've missed their rendezvous point with Natalia's group, that there's a search party out for them. But unfortunately, Natalia knows how talented and skilled her mom is and that this group has trained for months. So they're thinking they just got slowed down by the weather. They're fine. They're still going to meet us. So they're the fact that they didn't meet them didn't get reported to anyone. So nobody was looking for them at this point. The next day, she wakes up and she realizes she can see the storm has kind of cleared out more by now, and she can see that there's actually a trail of these towers going down the hill. And so she decides to follow that trail of towers down the hill, and it leads to like this abandoned village. So there's like some buildings and stuff, but there's nobody there, which is a little disappointing. But then she realizes there's a major river that's running on the other side of the camp. And this tourism event that was happening, it was like an outdoors event. So there would be people fishing, canoeing, kayaking, and the river was probably her best chance of finding help at this point. So she decides to camp out one more night, get some rest, and she camps out next to the river. And the following day, using something she learned in her training, she took her sleeping bag and draped it over a rock in the hopes that somebody would see it from the river. And so she did that, and not too far away, a group of Ukrainians were kayaking in the river and eventually spotted the sleeping bag that Valia had laid out and saw her standing there, staring out into the river. They, oh, hey, how's it going? Whatever. Wave to her, and she doesn't do anything. She just stands there. And so they kind of kept going, but then they were both like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
We better go back and check on her. And so they did. She couldn't say anything at first. Some of the reports vary a little bit. Some claim that she was like covered in blood, but then according to the kayakers, there was no blood, and one even said that she looked like she had actually recently washed her hair and face in the river. So they approach her the second time. They stop, check to see if she's okay. She's not talking. She basically breaks down sobbing, hugging one of them. They give her a blanket to warm her up, give her some antibiotics and other medicine in case she had some kind of infection. And then they take her back down the river, where eventually they run into two fishermen that she had met at the onset of their trip. So I had said that they kind of entered the mountain area in Merino. They had met these two fishermen and spent some time with them before they ended up going hiking. And so she recognized these people, and they asked, hey, how's your trip? How's everybody doing? And that's when she finally broke down and spoke about what happened. But it was all just kind of like jumbled and didn't make a whole lot of sense, because she was obviously really traumatized.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's going to take some therapy to get over what she saw.
So the men, they help get in they get in contact with law enforcement to report what happened. They arrange a train ticket to get her back home. The police commissioned a helicopter on August 21st, so this is 2 weeks later. It's the first chance that the weather was actually clear enough for them to safely start an air search. It's also my birthday. Two other hikers had also been reported missing just a few days earlier on August 17th. So they spotted those and they rescued them because they had laid sleeping bags out on bushes to get attention. I'm like, apparently this is a thing. Yeah. If we ever go into the woods and get lost, we got to lay sleeping bags.
If we go into the woods, we're getting lost. I mean, that's
and we're probably not going to have sleeping bags.
No.
So we're screwed. The search crew finally came upon Valia's hiking mates and found a mess, basically. Their remains had sat out in the elements for 2 weeks, and their bodies had swollen up. There were flies and all kinds of decomposition things happening that had like really experienced hardened search guys puking when they got there, like literally throwing up.
Yeah.
Everyone in the group had seemingly removed almost all of their clothing. So they were down to like thin tights, and we've talked about paradoxical undressing because of hypothermia. Many of them were barefoot, except for the two youngest, and those are the two that they were the last who were alive, I think, who were running towards the woods and then just started tearing their clothes off. I think they still had their shoes on. She didn't mention that most of the people had removed their clothes, so that was kind of odd, but I mean, of course, she was obviously very distraught as well, and memory gets distorted, right? The crews wrapped their bodies in plastic after they were done investigating, and they were flown to a nearby town for autopsies. The autopsies found that the cause of death for everyone was hypothermia, except for Ludmila, who had died from a heart attack. Everyone had bruising in their lugs, suggesting some kind of respiratory distress, which makes sense that they were all kind of gasping for air and clutching at their throats. But what's really weird is that they were all on the brink of starvation and had critically low levels of protein. I mean, we're only on like day 3 here.
Yeah, that is weird.
It seemed like the first 3 days went by completely without incident.
Yeah.
So it's really bizarre that they were on the brink of starvation. I Googled the symptoms of severe protein deficiency.
That's basically like
Fatigue, swelling, risk of bone fractures and infection, but none of it was like sudden violent death. So it just doesn't seem like that was a surprise. Let's just say that. So that's basically it. She's still alive. She went to college. She doesn't talk about it much.
what are the theories? Are there?
Oh yeah, I've got some theories. So
I mean, did she talk about? I mean, maybe you'll get to it and I'll get curted, but did they talk about what food they brought?
No,
Because poisoning, it almost sounds like
Yeah.
cyanide poisoning or something.
And then she didn't mention about them being cold.
no, not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
'cause
they were
then-
trapped in a snowstorm and they were wet.
But you don't go from not complaining about being cold to just being hypothermic
Yeah.
Right.
like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the right. I mean, the tearing off of the clothes obviously is something
Yeah.
we know is common with hypothermia, but yeah, for her to not mention that they were cold.
I'm guessing some people theorize that she
killed
killed them.
Yeah, that's what I have down.
That didn't come up in one of the theories.
Really?
Actually,
That's what I wrote down.
But it just
Yeah.
doesn't make she would poison them and
Yeah, I
then
don't think-
remove their.
yeah,
It just doesn't make
hypothermia
sense.
doesn't require you bleeding from the eyes and
yeah.
Yeah,
frothing
Also,
at
she's
the mouth.
17.
Yeah.
I mean, what mass murder?
frothing at the mouth sounds like poisoning, like cyanide poisoning.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so the
bleeding from the eyes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the first theory is like Dyatlov. One theory is that they accidentally witnessed some kind of military or government experiment.
Airborne
You know.
dropping of
Right. Some kind of agent.
Yeah.
That doesn't explain why she survived, though.
Yeah.
And why in the years after nobody tried to silence her
Yeah.
or stop her from
Yeah, because
talking
you would
about
think
it.
that-
If anybody would have survived, it would have been the older lady because she just would have been maybe more accustomed to pathogens or more
Maybe.
accustomed, but
Yeah.
not for a 17-year-old when the other people around her were that age. And
Yeah.
they also come unless she had some kind of
Although you could
hereditary.
argue that someone's younger, their immune system is stronger when you're younger. And she wasn't the youngest, but she was one of the youngest. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think if something's going to make you bleed from your eyes and froth at the mouth, that
Your
you're going to
immunity
get
has
it.
nothing
Your
to do with
immunity's
it.
got very
Yeah.
little to do with that.
She's never retracted the story. Russia has used chemical or nerve agents that were known to produce similar symptoms and were rumored to have been tested in those mountains. The thought is that the heavy snow rains could have washed the agent to where they
that's
were
totally
camping.
plausible.
Someone became contaminated. Maybe they were, near water or something. Someone touched it and it quickly spread to everybody else. But again, this doesn't explain how she wasn't impacted because she made physical contact with the first 2 people that
And, like,
went
the
down.
weird starvation thing.
Yeah, and why did the one guy go and bang his head on a rock?
You're the person
Lady,
going,
yeah.
Lady, whatever it was.
That's
go-
weird.
Victoria, I
like
think.
you're
'Cause that's
like
two
you're in
different
so much
scenarios.
pain. You're trying to knock yourself
delirious
out.
at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And-
Yeah, I don't know. Poisoned drinking water.
It's like almost
apparently.
like a found footage movie scene where
Totally,
somebody's
yes.
going and banging their head against a rock to
doing
knock
something
themselves out.
unthinkable. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that.
Apparently, there's this lake somewhere in this mountain range where toxic waste has been dumped there for a very long time. And if they were topping their water off from streams or rivers or whatever, the theory is that they could have gotten sick from runoff from that lake coming
but
down the mountain. But
you would assume
again,
that would
why
happen.
wasn't Valia?
Yeah.
And you would assume that would
affected by
happen in a
it.
bunch of different people over the course of
Yeah.
time.
Right. That mountain was probably loaded
Yeah.
with people participating in this tourism event. So it's not a great explanation.
What year was this?
93.
Oh.
It's funny because when you look at pictures of it, they're all like black and white. At least on the scary
Yeah, like all the pictures I
interesting.
was looking at were like black and white.
It makes it look like it was from like the
and this
mid-century. Yeah, and it's
this is also
1993.
known as the Khamar Daban Incident,
Oh, okay.
correct? I think.
I don't know. Maybe it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Another theory was that she was just so traumatized by everyone succumbing to the weather and hypothermia that she just completely misremembered what actually happened. This could explain why she did survive. Maybe she was better prepared, had warmer clothing, whatever the case may be. But you would think that the woman who was bashing her head against the rock, that'd be really apparent. Like, although I guess hypothermia, you probably do some really weird things when you have hypothermia.
Yeah, but
Is bleeding from the eyes and
No.
ears part of
No.
hypothermia? I don't
I
think
don't think so.
What was the time frame difference between her daughter, her mom, thinking that they were going to be showing up to when the
So when
boaters found her?
So
Could she have mistaken how short the duration was? Like, did this take weeks and she thought it only had taken days?
no,
There's
I
not
don't.
enough time frame in between that.
There's nothing in here that suggests that it like she was found weeks later. I think
Okay,
she was
'cause
found
that could
literally
be something that she was in such
delirium.
bad shape that
Yeah.
it took weeks and not days, and people just fell off along the way, and that she remembers it all happening
At once. That's possible.
But maybe she was so traumatic.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's weird.
Well, because they talk about she's been rescued now, and then 2 weeks later is when the search happens. So I feel like it was probably, if they were supposed to rendezvous on August 5th, so when things start going awry, that night they already talk about the fact that they've missed their rendezvous. It could have been that day. And then I think there's 2 more nights where she camps out, and then she's found by the river.
yeah,
So
it doesn't seem long enough to.
I don't
have
think
the
there's any
protein
time loss
deficiency.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
No, that's just weird. Like, none of it adds up, really.
And, you would
And they
think-
all had food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
would
mean-
think the reactions from everybody would be the same. 2 seemed like they were the same.
Yeah.
The older lady had a heart attack,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one lady went over and bashed her head against. It's just, yeah, it seems like you would all be susceptible to the same medical issues, like why one decided to go bang their head. And the heart attack makes sense if she was so,
Yeah, this woman is responsible for these young people. Some of them are still considered children, really. They're under the age of 18, and
Yeah.
one of them is
and then the one
dying
guy,
in front of her. A heart attack seems like...
yeah, then the one guy hid in a sleeping bag, which somewhere along the way he must have succumbed to the hypothermia because had all his
But it was
clothes
like he was
off.
hiding from something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That
There was a mention, too. The storm was still raging because Ludmilla, when she was running back... Sasha goes down. Ludmilla runs back to help him. Valia and the group kept going, but when Ludmilla went down, it stated that she actually covered them up and went to help. So they were actually trying to seek shelter just as they were hiking and covering up. So it sounds like the storm was really, really bad.
Yeah, and it seems like the clothes being taken off seemed almost like an afterthought. Like they were already have been dead and their clothes were taken off. So did they kind of come to consciousness, take their clothes off?
Or she just forgot that part,
Yeah,
or
or that.
in the chaos didn't notice that was happening.
this one is just weird.
The chief investigator theorized that this was just a case of mass psychosis due to hypothermia. I still don't think it explains the bleeding from the foaming
No.
at the mouth and the bleeding from the eyes and ears. There's a lot of people with blood coming out of places and shouldn't come out.
No.
And I don't understand how hypothermia could cause any of that. So
I don't know.
some kind of chemical or nerve agent just
Or,
seems...
I know it's way later, but I want to have an episode next season definitely about, what's it called? Havana syndrome.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
almost, could this
So
have been like a
fascinating.
directed energy weapon that they were
Yeah.
testing and that nailed these people and caused this to happen to them? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
My theory is I have no idea
Yeah,
what
my
happened.
theory is I have
Nothing
no
really
idea.
adds up, in my opinion.
The autopsies didn't, like, there was no dried blood, like,
Yeah,
around
it's
their
weird that
eyes?
they don't mention
Autopsies.
what well, the autopsy was,
Just
they talk
hypothermia,
about the
though.
autopsies.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
They don't have, like,
the bruised lungs
Yeah.
they mentioned
but-
and the low protein, but it doesn't talk about physical injuries, which
yeah,
I
if
thought
we're
was
just going
kind of
by her
odd.
word.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
like I said, maybe it happened all so fast, and that's what she assumed happened, or
It doesn't sound like anybody said that those things didn't happen, though. You know what I mean? Nobody from the investigation team or the autopsy came
Yeah.
back and said they had no physical
Yeah.
injuries. So
Yeah,
I
you
don't
would
know.
think somebody would came back with a like skull fracture
Yeah.
for the lady that
You would
hit her head
think
against
so.
the rock, so that way we could be like, okay, this legit happened because all we're doing is taking her word of events for it, and all we have is her word, which makes it sensationalized to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the autopsies that don't really discuss anything besides the hypothermia and the lungs, which coincide. So I don't know, we're taking her advice or her words as,
fact.
fact. When
Well, and she was a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
this is incredibly traumatic for her. So I could
Traumatic
understand
for me.
her. Yeah.
If we're doing a podcast and all of a sudden I start foaming at the mouth
And your
bleeding
eyes
from the
start
It's
eyes,
going to be traumatic.
Yeah, I'd be traumatized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
don't know.
I could see her misremembering what was happening.
I honestly don't know what to make of that. I really don't.
yeah, that's why I'm gonna go with like the usual accident, hypothermia.
But the banging your head against a rock is just,
Yeah.
like what?
But
Why?
like you said, did that actually happen?
Yeah.
It's just
I'm just gonna
bizarre
assume
that
it's
it's
her
not mentioned.
misremembering, and then not being prepared enough, even though it sounds like some of them were pretty good with the
Because none of it makes sense. It doesn't add up
mountaineering,
with, like
yeah.
the starvation stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't know.
puzzler. That's
I
a head
just thought it
scratcher, as
was- it's
Krista
a
would
head
say.
scratcher,
That is a
yeah.
head scratcher.
And disturbing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dang. There's
That's
two
it.
stories for you guys.
Yeah.
What time are we looking at?
2 hours.
Dang, we still got song picks.
Oh, yeah.
And a question. So Kory, jump into your
Yeah, I don't have a song pick for this episode.
jump into your song pick. Or do you want me to do mine first?
Yeah, do yours.
All right, so I was going to do a totally different one, and I decided on the drive down here I was going to do this one. Last week we were Black Friday. We were
Use your words.
Black Friday.
we were geocaching on Black Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and at one point, Aaron's daughter Courtney and I were in Quick Trip waiting for Aaron to pump his gas and come in,
Mm-hmm.
and they were playing a song over the system.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, I really like this song. So I was actually going to go with a totally different song, but I'm going with this one because this one has been stuck in my head since the first time I listened to it. I downloaded it, that I loved it so much. So I didn't really look at YouTube comments. It's kind of a dancey,
A dancey one.
I love this girl's voice. Holy buckets. Voice crush big time on this girl.
Holy buckets.
But it is the song, my last song pick for this season is the song Make Us Never Happen by Shy Martin. Yeah, I never
Never heard of it.
It's got like
Or her.
the lyric video has 8 million views.
Wow.
So I mean it's
Dang.
I want to say it's I don't know if she's like from the Netherlands area,
Okay.
but I love the song.
Scandinavian.
Yeah,
somehow?
it is
okay.
called Make Us Never Happen, and it is by Shy Martin. Like, I love this.
Okay.
Just absolutely love it. So I will post that video in the group. That is my last song pick for this season.
I told Kurt on the ride down that I originally had a different band and song. So I'm going to, and part of it was a joke. So I'm going to see if you guys can figure out what it was. This is a band that Kurt thinks is overrated.
Led Zeppelin.
It's one of my favorite bands of all time. The song is one of the most popular songs ever. And the joke has always been, if you're dating somebody or you're sitting with a friend and you play it, you're like, do you want to hear the second best guitar solo ever? And then you let them hear it. And then you wait for them to ask, well, what's the best guitar solo ever? You tell them, wait 45 seconds. You're going to hear it. So it has the top two best guitar solos ever. It's a band that I like that you think sucks and is overrated. And they're a 70s, early 80s band. Two of the band members hate each other.
Hall & Oates?
Nope.
No.
It's not Led Zeppelin.
It's not Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I don't know of any bad blood between them.
Two of the band members hate each other.
One guy left in the...
Aerosmith?
No, one guy left in the late 70s, early 80s. And
Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd.
Oh.
What's the song?
Is it a real? It's probably
It's probably their most popular song.
Brick in the Wall.
Maybe their second best popular song.
I don't know. Comfortably Numb?
Comfortably Numb.
Comfortably Numb is a good song.
It is a great song.
Yeah, that's what
I
originally
love
was
Pink
gonna
Floyd,
go
by
with.
the way.
I don't remember a
Big fan.
guitar solo in there.
Oh yeah, like after the first break, there's a guitar solo, because the two, in the video that I watch all the time, it's a live performance, and the two piano players sing the first part. It's more of
Yeah.
a spoken, and then when David Gilmour gets in and starts singing,
Is that the one you're going to post? Is the live version?
yeah.
Okay.
But that was what I was going to go with, and then the joke that goes along with it is, somebody says, "Do you want to hear the second best guitar solo ever?" And that's the first guitar solo. And then somebody will say, "Well, when can I hear the first best guitar solo?"
They're
I
like,
was
wait.
just wait 45
no,
seconds.
I
and
didn't.
it
I
kicks
didn't know
in.
that.
Yeah.
I don't hate. Like, I think what The Wall is a
Yeah.
solid album. It really is. Like, I've listened to the entire album, and it's a good album. So, and I like Comfortably Numb. I don't hate Pink Floyd. I just think they're
You think they're
overrated. I think they're overrated. Comfortably Numb is a good song, but I don't know it really well.
Okay.
When you post the like, I'll post send me the link to your video when I'll post it tomorrow morning.
Right.
I'll listen to it. Like, I do not dislike that song. I think it's a really good song.
Great song.
All right.
I like Another Brick in the Wall too. I think that's a dang good
Yeah.
song.
Okay. So
But
the one
I just think they're overhyped.
Yeah. So the one that I did pick, I want to see if you guys can figure this out too. It's a band that was formed in 1977 in Los Angeles. It combines elements of punk, rock, soul, funk, progressive rock, hard rock, R&B, blues, and jazz. They've released 14 studio albums and have sold 40 million records
Steely Dan?
worldwide. The group has received several Grammy Awards and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009. You'll know two of the songs automatically when they play. That's not one of the ones I picked. A lot of the band members have died. The drummer has been recognized as one of the best studio musicians as a drummer. He appeared on all kinds of different bands. Steely Dan was one of them that he played for. I'm trying to give you clues.
Like, I should know this.
Okay, as soon as I say this, Krista will get it. One of their songs was covered by Weezer just recently.
Okay.
Toto?
Yeah,
Toto.
Toto.
Toto are awesome.
So the
And I
song
love that song.
I'm picking is from the 1988, their seventh album, and the song is Pamela.
Pamela's a good song. Yeah,
So-
like, I know the song
I
Pamela.
don't think I do.
feel like they don't deserve the credit that they should.
You mean they do deserve the credit, or they don't get?
They don't get the
They
credit
don't get
they deserve.
the credit that they deserve.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
are you dissing Toto? I was about ready.
They don't get
whoa,
the
this is
credit that they
weird.
deserve.
Yeah,
Some of the band members are just incredible musicians.
yeah, like,
And like Rosanna and Africa and Hold the Line are all like staples.
yeah, but that
But
like,
Pamela is one of the songs that I love when it comes on. It's
Yep.
one of the few songs that I actually like
Yep.
kind of sing to
yeah,
or play air guitar or whatever. And I just feel like I wanted to mention a band that doesn't get the credit that they deserve.
No, like,
It's a
there's-
band I know.
like
You did
there's
two bands
like
I
their
know.
song Georgie Porgy,
Yeah.
like that Rob Squad Reacts, where they listen to stuff, they listen to that, and they're like, Toto were like super talented. There is a song, I was actually going to pick it for a song choice at some point, but is it Toto 4? Like,
Yeah, that's their big one with Rosanna.
yeah, but they have a song on there called Rockmaker.
Yeah.
And it never gets played, but that's one of my favorite Toto songs is Rockmaker. It's such a good
I
song.
think they have a much bigger discography than I was aware
They
of.
do, and like
Yeah.
Toto are super talented.
Yeah, like I'll Be Over You, I think is a song that doesn't get enough airplay. It's a
And I'll
slower
Die
one.
on the Hill, that Africa is one of the
It's
best
so
songs
good.
ever written.
And I think Weezer did a really nice job with they changed it up.
Yeah.
Instead of it doesn't the original, it's a guitar solo, and theirs it's like a keyboard thing, or is it the other way
Yeah.
around? I can't remember. They do
think-
change
yeah,
something up to
there's-
make it their own.
Yeah, there's some keyboards in there I think that
No, yeah, I'm
interchangeably.
proud of
so-
you for picking that. That's Toto is like Toto 4 is just a solid album. Like, I love Toto, so proud of you for picking that. Pamela is a great song. Awesome. Two good songs,
Do we have a question?
and we do have a question. Last question for this year. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I can't
Kory
remember
can
what
actually
you
get
were
included in
asking.
this one. This one you don't know.
Okay.
The question we got was, hey guys, I am so totally jealous that Coleman not only gets to hang out with you, but he also gets to go on a ghost investigation with you guys. So cool. This got me thinking, if I was ever lucky enough to run into you guys in a bar, what is your shot of choice that I could buy you? If you ever run into the three of us in a bar together, it's either doppelgangers or mimics, because I don't think the three of us would ever. I'm not a bar.
Unless there's a
Yeah.
restaurant
if
attached
I'm going
to
yeah,
it.
if I'm going in to eat, but I don't think you'd ever see the three of us hanging out in a bar doing shots.
Yeah, so I don't
that
do
would be weird.
shots.
I know what my answer is because it's my go-to shot anytime someone wants to buy
Back
me
in
a
the day,
shot.
I used to do a lot of tequila shots.
My shot of choice is tequila. Like, I like tequila. I'm not a whiskey guy. I
Ugh.
don't like whiskey.
No.
I don't like brandy.
If you if
I
you
used to do Irish car bombs.
Is that
So it's a glass of Guinness, right? And
Yeah.
what gets dropped in the center? There's like a shot that gets dropped in the center.
it's
I can't
kind of like the
remember
old
what it is
drink from
now.
Saucy's where you have a beer and you drop a shot
the
in the middle.
Boilermaker? Is
It's
it a
like
boiler?
that.
Yeah.
but
Maybe it's like Bailey's or something.
Yeah.
They
Well,
drop
what's the
in
what's
it.
the one that's the shot of Red Bull in vodka or something? I've had that.
We are
And the
clearly
thing
people
is,
who drink
we're
a lot.
not drinkers. We're not
like I
drinkers.
said, you could put 5 different shots in front of me with like vodka, rum, tequila. I couldn't probably tell you what they were.
Yeah, same.
That's how infrequently
I know tequila.
Tequila is like smoky. Like I
know I would know vodka, but
love rum shata, but that's kind of a weak shot to get. It's
yeah,
like,
but
dude,
that's my kind of shot. Is
Yeah.
a rum chata. Yeah.
But if
Honestly,
anytime
I'd be
somebody
drinking water.
anytime somebody wants to buy me a shot, it's tequila. Like I actually really want to like try a shot of Patron, but it's like over 10. It's like $14 for a shot of Patron. But I want to buy like
the
I've never
top
had
shelf
like a
stuff.
top shelf tequila. Except that incident at El Tequila in Manitowoc where I had that one margarita. I've told that story on here that
You
I
don't
went
remember
there.
getting
messed you
home?
up.
No, I the next thing I remember, I was home eating Culver's, and I went through the drive-through at Culver's,
That's crazy.
and it was so
And
bad for me. It
terrifying.
was so bad for me. But I had one margarita, and usually that's nothing. So
Yeah.
it's like, was I roofied? Like I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But I love like a shot of tequila. I like tequila. That's my shot of choice.
I don't really have one. Like I said, I don't drink hard alcohol rarely ever.
No, and when you
At
do, your
least in
head
the
gets
last-
red.
yeah,
You like
at least
have.
in the last-
He has like a weird allergic reaction to alcohol where his head gets red.
red and splotchy, and like you
Yeah.
just feel the heat radiate
Yeah,
off.
it's weird.
So I haven't drank hard alcohol in a long time. Usually I would just say whatever the person wants to give. I've branched out and I've tried like pickle vodka or the whipped cream vodka or some of the stuff that's like kind of out there.
The one that I hate is gin.
Yeah. So if the one, I'll just go back to when I was younger. The one that always seemed to impress people was that cement mixer.
I like cement mixers.
Yeah, where it was like Bailey's with lime
Yeah,
dropped into
Bailey's
it.
and lime
And
juice,
it
where
would
you
coagulate
yeah
to like cottage cheese.
you put it in your
Ugh.
mouth and you swish it around and it congeals in your mouth and turns into like cottage cheese.
I bet that would
consistency.
taste good, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so
freaks me
that's
out a
probably what
little.
I would go with, just because I don't have a frame of reference for any kind of like weird shot. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like cinnamons, like Fireball would be out.
Remember when like Scott would bring his triple shot glass and we'd do the three wise men shot that was
Yeah,
Jim Beam,
that.
Jack Daniels, and Jose Cuervo?
Or the stuff he brought back from
I'm getting a hangover just like
Uzo, not
thinking
Uzo.
about it.
Soju.
Soju.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like
Uzo
it
is
was
like Greek.
yeah, soju
Soju
was
was
like
like a-
made with formaldehyde. It was
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good.
yeah, well, it
Not
tasted
that.
it tasted as good as it sounds.
Ugh.
Yeah. The green thing I wouldn't mind trying. The
Absinthe?
Absinthe.
Absinthe, I wouldn't mind trying
wouldn't
either.
mind
Well, that's
trying
not like
either.
a shot though,
No,
right?
that's like
something
a mix,
you
that's
sip.
like a sipping drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
So
that
you
supposed to have
pour
like
a
hallucinogenic
slotted
effects?
spoon with like
Yeah.
sugar.
Sugar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Corey's going with
I'll go with the cement mixer.
cement
just
mixer.
because-
I'm going to go with tequila. Krista?
I'd probably be drinking water, but I guess if I had to take a shot, I'd just do tequila. I don't
Nice.
know.
The same thing with beer. You could line up Bud Light, Miller Lite, other besides
IPAs
Guinness.
or
Besides
something.
Guinness, I couldn't tell you what was what. You
I could. I generally could.
I could.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, that's how infrequently I drank. So
yeah.
Same.
Good-
I
good
haven't.
question.
I haven't had alcohol in like 3
Good
years.
question. If you ever run into the three of us in a bar doing shots, it's mimics.
Either someone died and
It's-
we're at their
yeah.
wake, or
it's doppelgangers or mimics.
yeah.
So thank you so much for the question,
Yeah.
anonymous person. And I think
Don't forget the deets this time. I think you forgot them last time.
you can email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at, no, we're not. Forget that whole thing.
Yeah.
We are
It's
on
called X.
We are on Instagram, where Krista does an amazing job at The Strange Sessions. You can send postcards and snail mail, hold off on food now for a little bit, to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54221-0434, which I have to pay for this month or we're going to lose it. So thank you, subscribers, for the money for that. Or you can call our lonely phone line, especially over the holidays. Give our phone line a call at 920-443-9602. And you can send listener stories to The Strange Sessions, stories@gmail.com. And
or you can stop and visit Kurt. His address is
my address, yep. Throw rocks at my window until I wake up and come out and talk to you.
I did want to mention that Spotify is releasing their like year in review stuff. So
number
people
one,
are
we number one on the list.
yeah. People are tagging us in theirs that say
Yeah,
we're their top
which is so cool,
podcast or
which
we're
is
in
so
their top
cool.
10. And I posted like some of our stats for the year that they gave us. So it was pretty
you guys
fun.
are in my top 5, I think.
Thank you.
Well, we better be.
Looking at my list, I think
Is that it?
that is it for
Is
season
that a
7.
wrap?
That is a wrap on
Dang.
season 7.
It's a shorty. This is only like 2 hours and 13 minutes. And you're going to edit some of that beginning out.
Yes, I am. And I think that's it. Kory, would you want, if we did a Christmas episode, would you come back for it?
No, probably not.
Yeah, so we'll probably just skip a Christmas. There won't
a
be
real
a Christmas
bah humbug.
episode. Yeah. Stay tuned for a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We'll just say that.
It's totally a Christmas episode.
And that's it for season 7.
It is.
It started
Crazy.
with Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
which was going back. Oh, Corey's got the. There we go.
Didn't Coleman send that to
Yeah,
us? I'm
Coleman
pretty sure
sent
he did.
that to us. All in all, do you think it was a pretty solid season?
I do.
We covered a lot.
I feel
a
like we.
lot.
I feel like we get marginally better every season.
Very
I mean,
marginally.
You guys are branching out, trying some new things. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after 7 seasons, it's nice that you guys are, going from this little rinky-dink outfit to something a little bit more.
I think we have enough for 10
Something.
seasons. I think we have enough for 10 seasons. I really do. Chris is giving me the stink eye. Like, she thinks that we can go on forever.
I do.
We still have Strange States coming up. I already. Oh,
We've only
and I
done
want
a
to say,
handful of
I want to
Strange
say,
States.
I want to say before I forget. I used to do the poll in the Strangers
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook on what topic you want to start next season after Christmas, but I'm going to do it like right away because I
have time
want to
to
start
research.
researching stuff. I want to
Yeah.
get a jump start on researching stuff. So within a couple days after this airs, I'm going to post in our closed Facebook group, The Strangers, I'm going to post a poll on what you would like the season premiere topic to be. I already have like the first 10 picked, and those are
Nice.
going to change, of course, but Blaine is going to come on.
Sweet.
We're going to talk about our investigation coming up that we're going to be doing over the break that
Mm-hmm.
we're getting all sorts of equipment now for, so we're excited. Kory said he would join us if we do the asylum.
Oh, nice.
So that would be
I really
nice.
want to do that, like as a private group.
Yeah.
I would love to do
Yeah.
that.
So we're going to do that, but I'm going to post the poll on what you guys want the first topic to be for the next season.
Sweet.
Last season it was Atlantis, or this season it was Atlantis. We'll see what next season is.
Cool.
So I think that's it. Anything else, you guys?
Mm-mm.
Kory, thank
Nope.
you as always for joining us for the season finale. It is now tradition that you join us for the season finale.
Glad to be here.
And again, Lake City Quiet Pills, I love that story, but man, that's a dense one to get into. Hopefully you guys liked it.
I did. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
Krista's freaks me out because the thought of somebody banging their head against a rock
Yeah,
really creeps
repeatedly.
me out, and I don't know what that is, but there you go. Anything else, you guys, before we sign off for the last time for season
it.
7?
I don't think so.
No?
How long till you come back to Texas?
How long do you come? I'm seriously surprised nobody left a voicemail.
I know, trying to creep us
I
out.
thought for sure there'd be several people that would have
Kurt,
come.
when are you coming back from Wisconsin? Keep an eye on the cheese curds.
Like you ever leave Wisconsin.
Exactly. So thank you guys so much for listening, and especially thank you guys that support us
Yes.
on Ko-fi or Ko-fi.
Kofi.
Like, you guys are funding our ghost hunting equipment and all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Kory subscribes on there, so thank you, Kory.
yes, thank you, Kory.
Just thank you guys so much for listening and for basically giving a crap about us,
Mm-hmm. Because we give a crap about you.
because we give a crap about you. We love you guys so much. Over the break, we will be coming to your houses and hugging you in person. So thank you so much. And that's it for season 7. We will be back with season 8.
Crazy.
Which just floors me to think
Yeah.
of back when we started doing this at the old school. So, Kory, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on. Krista, love you so much. Thank
Love
you
you
for
too.
doing this with me. And until season 8, we love you guys. Until next time,
Stay
stay strange.